The Earth is very flat.
What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon Show. Hope everybody's doing good out there. See, we got quite a bit of activity in the chat already. Always nice to see. And the weather is beautiful here, just in case anybody was wondering. It's 70 degrees, first 70-degree day. Oh my God, man. It just makes me feel like my bones are thawing out. I love it. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We got Ian Adams, P. Mars, Flat for Life. What's up, Flat for Life? Second Best Bob. Everybody knows you're bald. Arwin. I think I already said Arwin. Gosh dang, I suck at this. Brandon C. You guys are busy in the chat. Chrissy Heavey, Page 42, and Bill G, who was first yet again dominating. Sounds like I am I'm coming through all right. Appreciate that. And let's see. Let me put you the link for you in case you want to donate via Streamlabs. There it is. It's always pinned at the top of the chat. Pretty simple process there. If you want to join the show, come on into Discord. We've had lots of new people join the show lately. They just come in. You can sit there and listen. You know, you can participate if you want to. It's sometimes hard to get a word in edgewise, but that's okay. Try to be nice to the new people most of the time. But yeah, come on in. Link is in the description, and if it doesn't work, just let me know, and I'll get it in there for you. I don't have much planned for tonight, to be honest with you, but I think I've got a couple of things we can bring up that we haven't gotten to. And we can always look at that Where's Wally video and pick that apart if we want. We got a couple of really stupid science articles that we can laugh at, and we'll see what else comes up. Maybe the people in chat got something to talk about. I am going to try to stay away from Coriolis, to be honest with you. It's not my favorite subject. It really, really isn't. I am so sick of talking about fucking Coriolis. Until they can show us some Coriolis, like some actual evidence, some empirical data for Coriolis that's not just assumed. Fuck that. I'm not talking. I don't want to hear about a merry-go-round ever again. I don't want to hear about a spinning table. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Show me some evidence, please. Anyway, there's my rant for the day. All right, well, let's go into Discord and see what's going on.
It moves back and away, but
Yes.
it does not set.
But I can give you images
As
right
it moves
now.
farther, it disappears. But it doesn't disappear behind the horizon. It disappears because it moves out of view.
Exactly. Yes. But I can give you images right now of different effects of, you could call it the atmosphere, you could call it whatever. As the angle of the sun moves further away from the observer, you're going to get a different distortion. And you could call that an atmospheric effect. We could call it just refraction if you want. It still is something that
You can
leads
call
to the
it
vanishing.
midgets across the lake and short people.
What's up, guys?
What up?
Midgets are up.
Hey, can you guys do me a favor? There's a room right below this voice channel, the show channel. Would you guys mind if we popped over there? Just kind of come on over, because my overlay on the stream
It's
doesn't
rather
work.
gay, but we can
Mic
do
check,
that.
mic check.
Easy going.
I came in,
It's so gay.
came in like
We're
Matrix.
there.
You're good, Matrix. Yeah, come on over to the show channel, guys. Oh shit, misclicking.
It's gay.
There we go. Hey, what's up, guys? Let's see who we got in. I'll just call everybody off.
Word.
We got Percentage. What's up, Percentage?
Got here. What's up?
What's up, Arwin? Chrissy 2000,
Hello.
Global Virus Foe, Helvetica Bold, Jeremy, Jedi, Jimbo, Kiefer Deefer, Petrowski, Calardia. I tried. Sin Cleanser, Real Bob Dole. How's everybody doing?
In a
tonight?
world with no electricity.
Did I sound like that, Jimbo? Is that what you're trying to say?
In a world.
You're nasal all the time. You're trying to be like, What's her name there?
I'm nasal. Well, I am pretty
Yeah,
close to
she's got the
Canada.
schnoz there, Barbara Streisand.
I-
I'm not really that nasal.
Oh
I
boy.
think
It's okay though.
Get on that. Keep your house.
Jimbo,
it might
did you
be a
just say
glass of
toy?
in your nose.
What the fuck?
Barbara
I think you should definitely try again on that name.
That's not fucking cool.
Oh, you just got roasted,
Oh,
man.
I know.
Sorry.
I didn't like that. So what's up, man? Anything interesting going on out there?
Hairy armpits.
Mm,
The smell, man. Nobody thinks about the smell.
the smell of the
I'll
earth.
tell you what's
Yeah,
going on. We're
yeah.
dealing with delusional maniacs out there, Brandon. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I get that
Which
impression
ones?
myself sometimes.
Yeah.
Can you be more specific?
They don't like science. They don't like science, but they love to use it for a proof that they don't want to defend, oddly enough.
Well, they don't even know what it is. They think you can have some kind of empirical evidence by looking at. They think looking at something some kind of empirical evidence of anything.
Well, it's Dreamer's way of looking at things.
Tom, I
Why
keep telling them you
use
need to do a-
science if you're
you need
not
to
going
do
to
a
prove
fuck-
anything?
No, you need to do a fucking hypothesis test, and it does prove something.
Marvelous.
Jesus.
Absolutely marvelous.
Oh shit, I just thought of something, guys.
What?
For
What's
the
that,
game
Marlon?
designers out there. What's that game called again? Where you basically have
Soccer.
no,
Shout
NBA
out to
2K.
Stalker. What up,
Football.
Dude,
percentage?
what the fuck?
Nice.
like the board game.
Chess.
Monopoly,
have, like,
life,
Hard
the-
cheesy chess.
bubble bobble.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Where you
We're trying to-
basically have to square off people, right? Based on their attributes. It's a very basic, old-fashioned 80s game. I
Go.
know I'm old.
Othello.
You talking about those faces that used to come out, like little squares? Or no?
It's a
You
flip
talking about
up
the game where you would
flip
draw dots
system.
all over the place, and then you had to make the boxes?
God.
No.
I've
Arwen,
never
are
personally
you a
had the game,
boomer?
but
You're such a
What
boomer,
if you
dude.
what if you did that game where you basically square off based on their attributes with all the infamous ballers that we know?
Nobody knows what
Like
game you're
Dungeons
talking
and
about,
Are you
Like
talking
Arwen.
about
Dungeons and
bingo?
Dragons, or
Huh.
You're talking about bingo, aren't you?
No.
You're talking about checkers.
Omni.
chess, Chinese checkers. I can't help myself. I have problems.
What's that
It's
called
okay,
again?
Arwen.
What color are the pieces, Arwen?
It's all love.
What color are the pieces?
Pieces? No, there's no pieces.
Oh.
It's just two boards with a flip up system for
Battleship.
characters.
Oh.
And they all
Oh.
The
I
battleship.
I
think
know what
they
he's
have cards.
talking about. I was saying
The
it.
one where you
Yes.
gotta
Guess
find the
who?
differences in the people.
It's guess
Guess
who?
who?
Yes,
Right.
yes, Jeremy.
That's
I
not
think
a board
that's
game.
That was
Arwen,
the
sorry,
I know
best
it's a
part
board
of
game,
it.
but I got
something
you.
non-computery
See?
game, okay? Board game. What the hell, you know?
Yeah.
Come on, but that
All right,
that
cool.
game, and then with the ballers, with all their you could make all kinds of observations, suggestions. and
Guess
then
who,
each
but
one-
with ballers?
You want to sit there and
Like
look at their faces,
no, with
Arwen?
philosophical convictions and personal attribute like responses and
It's actually funny.
and looks perhaps or I don't
Guess
know.
who did Gravity?
Right, claims.
Who's
I
wasting
don't-
hundreds of dollars and hundreds of hours to recreate a famous experiment from the 1700s that proves nothing?
Are you talking about Blue Marble?
Oh,
Science?
yeah, you got it. You guessed. You win.
He's got Isaac Newton
Who
tattooed on
would've
his arm.
thought?
Anyway. Yeah, I don't have much planned for the show, in case you noticed already.
Okay, can we start off with a definition of what argumentum ad hominem? No, oh dear, I've
Ad
got that wrong.
hominem.
Argument.
Yeah,
ad
argumentum ad
hominem.
hominem means.
Yeah, sure.
Ad hominem.
You got a good definition?
Well, it means to the man. When somebody finishes off an argument with, "Well, you would say that anyway," or you're a science denier, that's to the man rather than the argument itself.
Yeah.
They don't use science, man. Why do you have to defend science if they say it doesn't prove anything? It's only flat earthers that defend science.
Listen,
nowadays.
it proves things if they want it to. You don't know how this works. If they want it to prove something, then it proves something. Otherwise, it doesn't prove a damn thing.
Yeah, you can
They don't
call
like
out
science.
when you've had an argument with somebody over various sentences, and then they eventually resort to ad hominem. You would say that anyway, or because you're a science denier, or you don't understand science. That's to the man rather than the substance of the argument. Can you then just finish the whole argument by saying you resorted to the man rather than the actual argument?
Yeah, but what they
However,
say
if
then
they
is,
are-
this is what they always say. No, it's true though. Like they'll call you an idiot, and then you go, "Oh, you're resorting to ad hominem," and then they'll go, "It's not an ad hominem if it's true." You ever hear them say that?
I would only ever
Yeah.
call someone
Right.
I would only ever call someone a science denier if they were actually denying science, like real science.
Yeah, but have you not removed yourself from the actual argument itself by going to the man?
Oh yeah.
Well, no, if we're arguing about the science of something and they're denying it, at that point, there's nowhere left to go. They're just denying science.
And do we not let them get to that point where they say that you're the science denier?
They don't use science. That's the problem. Like, we're the ones that says science proves things, and they're the ones that say technically, and they get into philosophical, like, arguments.
Yeah. You can never really prove anything. Everybody knows that.
Yeah,
We could all-
it's stupid.
We could all be brains in a jar or whatever bullshit. We could be drunk or hallucinating. They like to say.
But if you set up a question in a specific way, something like say, well, if you set it up in a way to say, hey, my hypothesis predicts that this will affect this, or this will not affect this. It can only be one of those two things if you set it up that way.
Yeah, you're correctly with a null and an alternative, and then at the end you have no choice. You can't. You have to prove something after that because one of those statements will be true afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to watch out for the false dichotomy. Is there only two options in the argument?
That's
When
why
you
you have
set
to
up your
design it correctly.
hypothesis-
Yeah.
Yeah. If your hypothesis is correct and your null is the antithesis of your alternative, there will be no choice but to prove one of the two. It's a dichotomy.
So once you've set that up, if somebody says you're a science denier, then have they become personal rather than actually handling the argument?
If they're denying the science of it, then I mean,
No.
what are you going to do?
No, they've accused you of being a science denier. When they get dry within their argument, they say, oh, you're a science denier. Have they committed the ultimate ad hominem?
Well, what does it even mean to be a science denier? I guess we'd have to define it. I think it is an ad hominem,
Yeah.
but what does that even mean?
If you have a valid hypothesis and a valid null, and I just say no, that I don't accept that, and it's been proven, then I mean I think it's fair to call someone a science denier if they're actively denying the science.
Yeah.
I think you have to let
I
them
don't.
accuse you of that.
Yeah, I'm
What's
not. Because what about scientists that get paid politically to put up actual hypothesis and everything, but then end up doing political type of science where it's one side or the other. So then you'd say, well, you're a science denier if you deny that,
They're
like
paid.
vaccines and stuff.
Most scientists are now paid, and that's
Yeah,
why they have the agenda that they do.
You have to
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's an appeal to
science is interested in.
there's an
That's what it is.
appeal to a reward for their opinion rather than the actual argument itself.
Yeah, that's why I don't think science denier has as much oomph as it used to, because science now is pretty much ruined at this point.
No, it's still good to remind Globers that they do deny science because they'll tell you themselves that they do, and it's.
Well, I
it's-
agree.
It's good
Yeah.
to hear it every now and then.
Well,
do.
when they say that to me, what that means to me is it's usually in the context of, well, we know this, and the consensus is this, and we've known this for hundreds of years. You're denying science. Like they think of science as their god. That's how they talk about it. Like you can't.
So there's an
deny
appeal to
science.
popularity there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You're the enemy because you don't agree to the popular opinion, and so therefore the argument is right.
Pretty much.
Whereas if they had actually given you their hypothesis and the experiment and everything, and it turns out that it is valid, and then you still reject it, I think they have every right to call you a science denier.
Depends on what you're.
They don't have that, though. They don't have that, so.
Right. You got to be careful of what the assumptions are, though, too, because they can set something up. You know, like somebody said, they set up false dichotomies. And they have these huge assumptions set in there.
Yeah, you got to make sure their hypothesis is valid.
Right.
If anything that the flat earth debate has taught me is it's how to present an argument and to watch out for the weaknesses in your opponent's position. I saw that when Brandon was up against Fight the Flat Earth, and Fight the Flat Earth had not got the technique of how to present an argument. He was desperate in clinging onto straws that weren't arguments themselves, and then Brandon handled him very well.
Yeah, no, he argued with a gimmick. There's a gimmick to how he argues. It's not really based on knowledge or science or any of that stuff. It's based on some sort of, it's like a wrestling match of trying to pull
gotcha.
one off.
Yeah, there was a technique. There was a technique. Yeah, there was a technique rather than the
That's what
actual.
I enjoyed. Brandon actually handled it pretty well because he wasn't falling into the traps that he set. And so it was really well.
If ever I was in court and I needed somebody to help me, Brandon, you'll be my advocate.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna start a new business then. I'm gonna have to set up an LLC.
Absolutely. You saw what was coming, and you handled it beautifully. I missed a lot of where you were going, and I thought, yeah, this guy he's worth his weight in gold.
Brandon has a relaxed way of debating these things.
We offer legal services and rain-free days. If anyone just
rain-free,
50 G's.
Yeah.
Brandon, what's your cost per hour?
How much you got?
What are you worth?
I don't know.
$20 an hour?
Oh, I don't
know. $100 an hour?
Yeah, getting closer. Yeah.
That's basically pro bono right there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can do you a favor, Mark. You know, $150.
Well, what? $150 or $150?
Just keep us on retainer for $2,000, and we'll work it out later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't imagine you ever needing a lawyer, Mark, unless you were suing somebody else. To be honest.
Well, I've had two occasions in court that I did miserably on. And when you reflect on what you should have said and how I could have controlled the argument, I just put it down to experience.
Oh yeah, it's a whole new thing. That's how they got you by the balls. These lawyers, and it can charge so much. It's a whole new system. It's a whole new language essentially. What are you gonna do? You're fucked. You got to have someone who knows the system. And not many of us have time to learn that shit, that system.
When I went to school, I was taught how to use woodwork, how to use metalwork, how to do science in a very limited way. But there was never any mention of how to present yourself in court. And when that does happen, you're fucked. It's a rigged game. You will be prosecuted no matter what.
Oh yeah, just choose.
You have to learn that through experience, and the next time you go in, you're ready for them.
You know who else does those kind of tactics that fight the flat earth? Because you guys hit the nail on the head. It's very gimmicky. Is Conspiracy Cats. When I debated him,
what up?
Yeah,
his whole argument was a gimmick because he turned my argument into. First of all, he acted like he didn't understand it, and then he turned it into trigonometry doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a shtick.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I would ever say trigonometry doesn't work, and he just completely ignored the subtlety that I was talking about, like the point that I was making. and just
Yeah.
went with trigonometry doesn't work. And that spread like a fucking virus, man. I had people tell me, "Oh, you don't know trigonometry. You don't know how many
viewers loved it.
Yeah.
They do love it.
Yeah.
Well, see, and when you from
so
an objective outsider's viewpoint, when you see something like that between the two different groups that are having a discussion, you see that, okay, one side is using dishonest tactics, the other is using actual honest tactics. At least just start with the base of, okay, start with honesty. You know, I mean, don't immediately jump to the dishonest unless you're crazy.
When Conspiracy Cats first came in on the scene, I connected with him and I had some sort of private discussions with him as well. And I thought, okay, this guy's quite genuine. He's open to reason. And then he invited me onto his show to explain why I believe that the Earth is flat. And it was all very, very pleasant and non-confrontational. But when you look at the response on the comments of his video, there's 1,000 rhetoric, nasty comments on it, and then they all came over to my channel, and I got within a day 1,000 nasty comments, and I'm thinking, Al, that's his name, Al Conspiracy Cats, did you really set me up for this? And I didn't bother going back on his channel. I was quite disappointed with. I questioned his motives because he appeals to the mocking of flat earthers rather than the actual argument of flat earthers.
Yeah, and he's a personable guy, right? He's got a good personality, Conspiracy Cat. So, and he's pretty funny, and he's good at his videos, right? He does a good job producing his videos. I hope he doesn't clip this out. But the thing is, that's like a facade for these tactics, just like the one he used against me with the trigonometry stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very clever.
It's not genuine. It's technical. It's technical, and he has a following, and they're so eager to jump on your channel and give all these nasty comments of drink a bottle of bleach because you're a flat earther, and that's what I got in my channel from following his invitation to come on his show as a genuine, nice, pleasant discussion. It didn't turn out to be that way at all.
When you have the truth, you don't need these gimmicky types of techniques and tactics when you debate people. Can you think of any flat earther that uses these types of techniques? Because I can't.
Sleeping Warrior.
What's that?
You say sleep?
Hey, there's some characters on our side.
Yo, we're being hacked by Transformers, man.
Who is
there were some characters on the flat Earth side that I wish weren't on our side.
Such as?
Nathan Thompson.
Yeah, who?
For one.
Don't talk about Brandon. Don't Mark. Don't talk about Brandon like that. Come on now.
Brandon's okay. Sleeping Warrior, he will be one.
Just all right.
I'll take it.
No, Sleeping Warrior has honest arguments. You can laugh at him for being wrong at some things, but that's fine. But there are a lot of people in the Flat Earth community that are actually not helping at all. And,
do you mean like Arwen? Is Arwen here?
Well, I don't want to say Arwen.
Hi, Arwen. How are you?
Here? Yeah, hi.
I like Arwen.
I was going to say
genuine
Nathan
guy.
Thompson. Nathan Thompson is a clown. I would want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Do you think he uses purposefully dishonest tactics, or do you think he
yes,
just kind of?
I absolutely think he does.
You do?
I think everyone knows that he does. But I don't think Flat Earth needs to like fucking dock with him and actually fucking hang out with that dude. No, we have better arguments. We don't need those type of people. But that's again my opinion.
Interesting. I'm just trying to think of what he said that's specifically purposefully gimmicky.
No offense, but who cares? Like,
when he attacks members of the public in a hostile manner, that's just not manners.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what to tell you, but if you don't know it when you see it, I mean, it is what it is. There are people in Flat Earth that make us look really retarded and really bad, and I would claim him as being one of those people.
Well, yeah, that's
true.
true.
It is what it is.
Well, maybe.
We have a lot of really good Flat Earthers, and I don't think he's one of them.
Yeah, there's a difference between being a douche and being gimmicky.
In every batch, you'll
The
have
guy
a few
has a
bad
certain
apples.
level, you
There's
know?
no point in talking about it or talking about specific people. It's
No,
we
there
just
is.
move on
There
to the.
is actually.
No, it's
No, there
really
definitely
no
is.
point.
It's very beneficial to try to figure out how to have arguments, how to have discussions back and forth, and figure out what's most productive.
100%, I agree with that completely. But like talking about specific people, especially when they're not even here, it's a fruitless endeavor.
No,
I
I'm trying to
have an
figure out though who
argument
exactly
for
it is that's
him
doing
in
it, so that we can
defense
figure
of
out how
him,
not to
if
do that.
I
Would be a good
may.
idea.
Well, let's focus on the tactics that are used and
So I can't.
not the people. But go ahead, Arwen.
Right. Okay. So the guy, he's very intense. Like, this is not an act. This is not a mask. He is just a very intense guy, kind of like what I associate with hyperactive. It's like really strong, and people don't understand what that does to you, right? And I think that overall he has been doing his best, and like it just mocked up at some point. Like he lost control of his level.
But I don't have to respect those type of people, Arwen. I'm sure you
No,
agree.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be accurate.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that
Passion is
he
often
just
confused for
crashed. He's
zealotry.
like a very intense guy, and he crashed, lost control.
Yeah, but I don't
And
want him
who
to
knows?
represent
He might
Flat
be
Earth
back.
in
He
any
might
way.
be. He might be back and point at you again. Like, see, I'm back. I'm doing it again. You don't know yet. Who knows?
Well, I will say this: we
A lot
have
of
to be
flat
careful
earthers
who we.
crashed and then got it back up and started doing things again. Flat earthers are kind of tenacious like that.
I will say we have to be careful, electing leaders somehow, because that seems to get us in trouble. And I don't know if that's just a natural consequence of, being on social
Talking
media,
about leaders.
and it's like it just kind of we naturally kind of coalesce around certain people and personalities, and then that person ends up talking to the media or representing Flat Earth in public functions.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's just I don't think there's any way to get around that, right?
But
No, I really don't.
hold on. If
Well,
we can
you
if we can
actually
cut
do it.
people out of the community, especially the ones that misrepresent Flat Earth, I think we should try to make that very clear to people. I don't want to feel represented by clowns, and I think if there are clowns in this community, we should call them out. No, I think, listen, if you don't understand who, okay, it is what it is, but I'm sure everyone knows what I'm saying.
The Cavendish experiment tells us nothing about the shape of the Earth, and yet somebody's picked up on that, and we've got Blue Marble Science copying that experiment as a globe earther against flat Earth nonsense. And yet the actual original point that Cavendish has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, and yet it's been picked up and it's been discussed and debated, and it doesn't put flat Earth in a good position because it's nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
Well,
Fair point.
I would kind of agree with everything you're saying, but it is based on the radius, the absolute size, the mass of the Earth. By knowing, they say, the size of the Earth, and then calculating the absolute mass of it. So
The
yeah,
AI
I
affirmed that
completely agree with you,
consequence.
but it has got that R on it. It does work on that. Yeah, it does do that.
We've seen Blue Marble Science spend a year building this equipment in his workshop, and 10 out of 10, I'd loved his workshop, and he's a nice guy. I spoke to him on a personal level, but it's a total red herring from the actual debate that the Earth presents itself as flat and motionless. We don't need Cavendish. We don't need balls attracting balls or mass attracting mass. You just take a look at the Earth. We're not on a ball, and we're not moving, and that's it.
But isn't gravity an integral part of this discussion?
Only if you believe in the globe. It's nothing to do with a flat Earth.
Well, I mean, we argue the shape and we argue gravity. I mean,
Yeah, it's very
integral.
it's very integral.
You're stepping into their world of defending what they believe they have, when in reality the Earth presents itself as flat and motionless. We don't need to discuss gravity.
Yes, you do.
You
If
are
there's
right.
gravity, it can't be
Working on the
flat
assumption.
because then it would collapse.
Why would
Who
it collapse?
said yes we do?
Right.
Why would it collapse, Ed?
It can't sustain itself. Just will collapse because the center of mass will be Well, the center.
Why would the center of
Okay,
mass be
Matt-
the center on a flat plane, Ed?
Ed, my
It has
position
to
is
do with the laws of physics.
that we don't need to enter into their world to defend it or dismantle it. Just take a look at what the Earth presents itself as. It's flat and motionless, and that's it. We don't need to go into their world and dismantle it.
Then what does Cavendish show us? Because if it's
Well,
gravity, then it can't be flat.
Well, Cavendish supports their presupposition of a sphere. We don't need him.
Right, so what does the
Cavendish
experiment
is the
show?
Earth. It's
What does the
supposed to be
Cavendish
an
experiment show
experiment to
them?
weigh the
Well,
Earth.
he certainly wasn't starting to show that the Earth was globular.
Yeah,
wanted
I'm
to-
not asking what he didn't show. I'm asking what it does show.
I don't care what it shows because
Right.
it's not to do with the shape of the Earth. It's to do with
Yeah,
mass
it actually
attraction.
does, because
on.
again, if there's gravity, then
Hold
it
on.
can't be flat.
That's wrong.
What does it show?
Listen very
What does
carefully.
it? Sorry, what does it exactly show?
Gravity
It shows
does
mass
not.
attracting mass.
Gravity does
Right.
not tell us what shape the Earth is.
Yes, it does. Because it can't be flat if there's gravity. What don't you
Okay.
understand?
All right, I
Expand-
want to address. Sorry, can I address this? Sorry, you're saying that the Cavendish experiment shows something. Tell me what it shows you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
happens in the
asking you.
experiment, quote unquote. But you're telling me what it does. What
No,
happens
I'm
in
not
this
telling you
quote unquote
anything. I'm
experiment?
asking you what it does.
All right, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll do it for you. Being as you don't want to have the conversation, I hand it back to my friend who I had to rudely interrupt. What you're saying is mass is attracting mass because the balls, whatever, attract to each other.
I'm not saying
That is
anything.
not always the case. You're right. Okay, so you're not saying anything. You're not going to base
Yeah, I'm
anything on
asking
Cavendish.
you
You're just
what
going
the
to say that it
Cavendish
shows and proves
experiment
gravity, but
shows.
you don't want to talk about it.
He
No,
doesn't
I'm
have an
asking you what
argument,
it
Jedi.
I literally
shows.
just told you. It,
You're telling me what I supposedly said.
I'll have to do
but
it again.
I'm asking you what it shows.
But does it show?
Don't tell me what I
Ed, you
supposedly
you gotta let him
said.
respond.
Does
Come
it
on.
show?
Go ahead.
If you're ever going to be talking about the Cavendish experiment, and you're going to be talking about an attraction of the balls or movement of the torsion bar, this proves gravity. The point that I am trying to make is, yeah. When you only talk about the experiments that do this, because they don't always do this. Sometimes they repel, sometimes they don't move at all. So if you want to take all of the Cavendish experiments, what does it actually show you? Sometimes it moves toward, sometimes it moves away, sometimes it doesn't move at all. So repeat
Negative.
and verify to do exactly the same thing when all conditions are the same? Oh, no, not that then.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're,
so
you're
why-
reporting false information there. Under the correct control conditions, the little masses always move towards the large mass.
So why has Blue Marble Science taken up this dispute when it's got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth? It's because there's been a red herring thrown into our position to confuse things. It's all about alpha male dominance. That
No,
I'm-
Blue
I'm-
Marble
I'm-
Science is just wrong. There's so many different things about his quote-unquote experiment that he's messed up.
yes, but why did it go?
Unfortunately, he's not here to
Such as?
defend it, so...
You need to prove that.
Yeah,
Why-
unfortunately,
why-
he's not here, so we really can't walk him through all the different problems that he has.
But you know
Why
he
do
did
you
something
think-
wrong, though.
know it?
So why don't you explain it? Explain.
Why did he
Yeah.
go down? Why did he go down this road in the first place? It's because of Nathan Oakley and his cult following that he went down that road.
Don't
He
bring...
was- he
Nathan isn't here. Why are you
What?
bringing Nathan into things?
because that's what
Hello?
happened. It's
He's
Hello.
using a description.
Hello.
Just
Blue Marble
describing what happened.
Science is not
Here.
here either.
Hi. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
An Oakley and his cult following? What?
Yes,
Yeah, you're one of them.
I heard that
absolutely,
too.
Arwen.
That's
Arwen,
weird.
listen,
So
listen,
how
Arwen,
does
very
this cult
carefully.
work? How does this work?
Arwen, listen very carefully. Whenever there's housekeeping answers that you have to answer correctly to, or you will be berated, that is a cult following, and you
You're
are.
never there. How would you know what
it's
happened?
called
He's
a daily
correct.
practice, you know?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it-
called
is it a cult
practice.
following to do exercises every day of a specific kind?
Yes.
You know, like in the morning, is that a cult following when you do that every day? No,
Yes.
we do
Owen.
housekeeping every day.
Owen,
Cleaning house.
Owen, what
Laying out
factory
the
is
table.
Owen, what factory is this on?
On the internet.
You're forced to memorize mantra. That's
Owen, you
Hold
answer
on,
the
hold on.
question.
Helvecta Bold, I've never heard
It's
you on
really
Nathan's
helpful
show.
to know.
I've never heard him on his show.
yeah,
Talk
and
to him.
answer your own thoughts instead
You're
of
more
his
than
answers.
welcome on there, but don't shit talk if you never want to show up.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Me.
Yes,
I was.
you.
I was on Nathan's show every day for about a year, and I gave money to Nathan to support him. And then I realized, that it's just a cult.
Well,
You've got
guys,
to follow.
You don't show up anymore. You're memorable. Your arguments aren't memorable.
Simple
And
answer is
you're
correct.
frustrated.
Guys,
No,
I
just
I
wanting
really
people to
think
shit talk.
I really think we should
Will,
get
can
back
someone
to
DM me when we-
focusing on the Cavendish and the argument and the substance. I want to kind of get away with it.
Thank you,
for
Brandon.
this.
Thank you. You stole the words out of my mouth.
The problem is a format fallacy.
No, he's correct.
Yeah,
No,
let's drop it.
doesn't even
Yes,
show up
he's
there.
correct.
Can we,
So,
can we move forward?
Ed, why on a flat
What's
plane? Let's say the Earth is a flat plane. You said that the gravity would cause the Earth to collapse on itself because of why?
Yeah, why is that?
Because it would.
Why would things going
Why?
down towards
Because
the
it's
surface
going to
of
be
a plane
unstable.
cause it to collapse?
That's not what a center of mass is, though.
But who said anything about a
So-
center of mass? What are you imagining
Because
that
that-
there would still
because
be
that's
a
gravity,
core to
though.
the Earth that things would be sucked down to?
No, you're not. No, center of mass means
That's
center of mass.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it
So
matters.
anything that's not in
absolutely. The whole
So
thing is
listen.
going to be unstable because
Listen.
the gravity is going to be less as you go outward.
Sorry, which definition? Definition of mass is that?
If you're like
Which
at the
definition?
edge, so if you're like at the edge of the plane, the gravity is going to be towards the center, and you'll be standing like sideways compared to the surface.
Yeah, but okay, Ed. Every time we dig down or whatever, we always see that it's gets more dense as we go down, right? But for the sake of argument, let's say actually there's it's less dense as you go down. We know like if we have a more dense object on top. Hold up, if we have a more dense object on top of a less dense like object, and they're both solid.
Why would it be less dense?
Let's say for sake of argument, it's
Why
less
would it
dense,
be
so
less
will,
dense,
So it'll
please?
cave in basically, and it'll become
Yeah,
a ball.
so can you please explain why it?
I'm still landing your argument, bro. I'm saying
No,
let's say it's less dense.
telling me.
Bro,
Yes,
listen.
but why?
Yo, just listen for a second. I'm saying.
Yeah, then tell me why it's less
Just
dense.
listen. I'm
please.
telling you. Let's say, imagine it gets less dense so that the Earth can cave in on itself and it can become a
Why?
ball. So it can become a ball. I'm trying to steal
Yeah,
your
but
argument. Don't you
Why
understand?
would it be less dense? If you
It's
go
not.
down?
It's never less dense. But I'm saying,
Alright, so
even if
then
it was less
why?
dense, even if it was less dense, the more dense object on top, if it's a solid,
Yeah,
it doesn't
you're not making
fall
any
through.
sense.
It doesn't cave through. It doesn't
Yeah,
move
you're
into the
giving
other
me this
solid.
what if scenario that doesn't make any
Wow.
sense.
The point is, we never see it.
What if it
this
was
at
less
all.
dense? Yes. What if the core was made of water? What if the air was made of water? Are you kidding me? That's
The point
ridiculous.
is, solids don't fall into solids.
Yeah, the
bro,
point
because
is
the
your argument
electromagnet.
is pathetic.
No, the intermolecular bonds are much stronger than any gravity effect.
Right. So
it's
what
never
if
going to
what
cave
if
in
the
on
air
itself
is
and
made of
become a sphere.
water?
Never going to
Can
Then
we
we
talk
shouldn't
one at a
breathe.
time? For real? One at a time. 666, please.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks, Stacy.
Anyway, solids can't fall into solids. We would never expect it to become a sphere if it was a plane, even with
Right. So
gravity.
that doesn't make any sense because I can say, well, what if the air was made of water? Welcome to the globe. See how
That's
it
like
is?
saying
That
anything
sense
that's
of
not a
matter.
perfect sphere is going to collapse on itself. We should only see spheres.
Yeah, because it's unstable.
We should only see spheres everywhere we go. Otherwise, it would collapse on itself.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Density and gravity has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. It's a nonsense. It's a red
Yes, it
herring.
does.
Thank you, at least for starting somewhere from which we can probably understand. Yes, gravity has nothing to do with the ball Earth.
And when we argue about
Yes, it does.
gravity and density with the globers, like Rumpus, we're giving them so much material to come back at us that the Earth is flat and motionless, and that's it. We don't need density and we don't need gravity.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's proven to
You
itself
don't
that the
need
Earth is indeed
density
flat.
to
So
prove the Earth is flat.
all the evidence
would be-
points toward that.
But
We
the ball
would
Earth
be
definitely
we would be
needs
years ahead of
gravity to
ourselves.
prove it's a ball. So this
We
is
would
a
be years.
error.
We would be years ahead of ourselves if we hadn't gotten bogged down with the gravity buoyancy crap. And they all came from Sleeping Warrior, who was an absolute dick. Let's get on with the Earth.
Wow,
The
more
Earth.
format fallacy. That's okay. Yeah, he can be quite a dick sometimes. I know.
Arwen,
But he was right though, and it's not his. He just brought
Arwen,
it on
you
the
were
table.
bullied. Arwen,
It's
you
an
were bullied.
He was
existing
right
formula.
about what?
The
called
Earth presents itself as flat and motionless. We don't need the buoyancy
No, it doesn't.
gravity debate.
That's
And
right.
we
We
don't
don't need relative density to prove the Earth is flat. That's correct. But the
Good.
ballers need gravity to prove it's a ball.
Yeah, but fuck the globe. The globus.
no,
we
we
don't
don't.
need to go. We do
Like
not
you
need to go
sound
into
so-
their
We
world.
have a baller in the room right now. Aren't we having a discussion with a
I,
baller?
I don't understand that regardless of all the evidence
So there was
against the globe, people still believe that we live on a globe.
We don't need to step into the globe world to dismantle it. We just need to present where.
well.
The
Let's ask
obvious-
Edith. Let's ask
The
Ed again.
bleeding obvious is that
Because
the
he's
Earth
tried to
presents itself as
jump in a
flat
couple of
motion.
times while she's been rambling on, mate. And when you
Yeah,
keep
so
saying the Earth
why
presents
you need
itself as flat and
gravity?
motionless, he keeps saying, no, it don't.
You don't need gravity. Gravity is
So,
proven to
Ed.
be false. The black Trump
Right.
proves that we live on a flat Earth.
Gravity is a red herring, and we've got to stop falling for.
100% agree.
I don't
Right.
think
You
so.
guys
I
have
don't
got
think
enough
so.
evidence.
I'm going to tell you my opinion, and I understand where you're coming from, and I don't necessarily think that we need gravity on the flat Earth. We don't need to make this argument. But we've got other flat earthers out there creating a whole new story for what gravity is that we can't scientifically prove.
But who manipulated them into that argument in the first place? It came from the root foundation of the new flat Earth ideas, and it came from people who were so much concerned about their own alpha male personalities rather than the actual argument. And we have to remove personalities from this debate and just look at how the Earth presents itself.
I agree with that.
I've come in very late, and what I see, the evidence that you've got to put together, you could teach on the subject completely away from the full model with everything that you can show and see and feel. It's all there. I think you should be, going down that route and let them start arguing that we're wrong. Things that we know and we can see and feel.
Okay, listen, we don't need to step into their world and dismantle their position. We just need to present what we observe and what is fundamentally obvious, that the Earth presents itself as flat and motionless.
Do you think there's any value in internal critiques then, or no? Because it seems like that's just an internal critique you're talking about that you don't like, that you want to stay away from. I think internal critiques are fine, don't you?
I took up 10 weeks and arguing and got nowhere.
As long as they've got a valid point
Right,
to
exactly.
disprove flat. Gravity does not disprove flat, nor does it prove globe. The globe needs gravity, but we don't need to enter into that debate. Just let them get on with it.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. I agree. That's definitely one way of doing it. If you want to just bash them over the head with a hammer and say, it is flat, it is flat, it is flat. Or you can get into the more detailed aspects of it and try to, tease out some of the finer points.
Okay, support flat Earth point. I get that, but we don't need to dismantle what they believe. We just need to present what we clearly see. Fight the Flat Earth has given so much ammunition by flat earthers trying to dismantle the globe, and we've given him so much oxygen. He's making money out of it. Fuck that idea of supporting the globe apologists. Let them get on with it, but don't give them any oxygen. The Earth presents itself as flat and motionless, and that's all we need to know. If that was the case, I don't think Brandon would have a show either, and I do love joining the show.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I definitely see your point, though. I think it is a good idea to try to focus more on the specific. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, if you don't want to, or if you just want to say the Earth presents as flat, and then you just kind of don't want to argue that point, then don't. I mean, wouldn't you want to know just for I mean, yourself, research-wise, I mean, what's the downward force? What are the lights in the sky? What I mean, just I don't know. Aren't you curious about all that?
Irrelevant to the fact that there is no curvature at the end of the day.
Yeah, we don't need to discuss
There is
downward
no
forces.
curvature.
Downward
Can I say
forces.
one thing though? You got to remember, you're not just talking to these Globers. We're not just doing this for us, right? There's people watching the show, and there
Yeah.
might be someone that I bring from the streets. They're going to start watching these shows and have no clue from the beginning what the heck's going on. So to hear these conversations is kind of needed, not for us, but for them. That's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. We've got to keep it simple, and we've got to make sure there's no confusion or any internal alpha male arguments or cult followings within the movement.
Well, that was what I was saying in the sense that we can talk about gravity and what's not gravity, electrostatics, ether, whatever you want to, but it really has nothing to do at the end of the day with the shape or the curvature. We don't measure curvature.
And then it gets difficult. And then it gets difficult for people to start understanding when you start talking about measuring gravity and measuring electrostatic. Do you know what I mean? The general public just will go along with the fact that they can see further than the model predicts that we can. Water's flat, there's basics. Do you know what I mean? You know, I've gone and bought books on geodetic surveying because I'm sick of telling me I don't understand. Well, I do now, and it's still a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
What distresses me is that we have an Atlantic divide between the guys in America and Globebusters and the guys in Nathan Oakley in the UK arguing about gravity, and it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, and that would put people off in investigating. Well, what is the shape of the Earth? If you did a Google search or started in with the researching it, all you see is internal fighting with alpha males, and I think that just ruins the whole point of where honest, flat Earth globe debate should really be at.
Is there anything in the Globebusters Good Times for All model that would falsify a globe? Because I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't this dielectric acceleration, is that what they call it? I can't remember. Wouldn't this, is this shape dependent, or is this, it's just a different mechanism for the same effects, right?
No, he's just trying to tease out the finer details of what's actually happening on this flat Earth. You know,
that's personalities. It's nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. It's just personalities.
Well, it does
what I'm saying is
he's got the foundation of understanding, science, the scientific method. That's what it has to do with.
I know, but I'm trying to understand his specific, their specific theory does it falsify
the nature of the realm?
Could the two coexist? This dielectric acceleration and a spherical Earth, could the two coexist?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They definitely don't exclude each other.
Okay, that's what
Not
I was
really.
trying to understand.
They can't know. It can't really exist on the globe. The only way it can exist on the globe is with what they did with the ionosphere, making this charge be able to accumulate in the upper atmosphere with no physical plate. But that has to be there. Ampere, if you go back before Maxwell to Ampere, his law was that it has to be a solid surface. So if we can prove that, then they don't have a solid surface around the globe.
A solid surface meaning rock?
Brandon.
What?
Brandon.
Like the two plates, the negative on the bottom and the positive at the top. They call the ionosphere that.
The main function of gravity is the center of mass, which is in a sphere. Right? So if you're going to say dielectric acceleration, and they're equating that to be gravity, how can you have gravity without a sphere?
How can you have gravity without a sphere? It's a different mechanism.
Because you can.
It's the same process, right?
No,
they're different, right? Well, one doesn't have to do with center of the mass. the dielectric acceleration doesn't have to do with center of mass, right? It just has to do with the charge.
That their bendy space-time is what they need, but here on Earth, the two different gravities that they talk about, mass attracting mass and then bendy space-time, the mass attracting mass one, I think that is this incoherent dielectric acceleration, and their orbit one, the bendy space-time one, is the one they need for, out in outer space. That's the one we don't need.
It's only one type of gravity. You can explain it in different ways.
Well, I would agree with that in a sense, but to get back to
two different effects, two different things.
To get back to Mark's point, I mean, Mark, I want to ask you a question. Would you have us sequester ourselves to just flat earthers? Because that's the approach that Globebusters and others have taken, and I respect their approach. It obviously works for them very well. But would you have us go that route where we are just flat earthers, just talking about flat earth information? And honestly, actually, Globebusters, those guys talk a lot of globe debunking too, and then just talk flat earth? Or what is it? What would be your vision if you had the reign?
Okay, I don't need to step into the globe to defend it or to dismantle it. It's purely on how the Earth presents itself, and it presents itself as flat and motionless, and that's where we work from. And to get bogged down with the gravity question has unfortunately caused a rift between flat earthers, and we've got the guys in America with us and the guys in England with Nathan's channel arguing with each other. And a newcomer to the idea will see this internal squabbling, and if any of them had any wit, they would say, let's forget about internal differences. We want to just present what is factual, what is truth, or at least get somebody to investigate it from the actual shape of the Earth rather than all this crap about.
But how do we even
Shout out to
within
Helvetica Bowl.
ourselves
I wish-
internally?
You don't
Here,
have to
I'll
follow
let you guys follow up. I just want one follow up to Mark. How do we even internally come to the conclusion on what is correct if we don't debate and discuss and throw around different ideas? Because I see that as part of science, is this back and forth.
Debate and discussion is fine, but when it comes to alpha male narcissism and I'm right, this sort of absolute conviction that I'm right and I'm not going to listen to anybody else. It's that disturbs me.
Yeah.
The narcissism behind it. I'm going to start mentioning personalities, and I shouldn't do that. Personalities should be taken away from it and just cold, hard, logical reasoning.
Sorry that people are getting in your way.
I'm sorry. Out of
With cold, hard
respect,
reasoning.
as a human being, can we at least acknowledge that Bob is in this room? And I really don't like how we're approaching this. It can be done in a way more professional manner. So out of respect for Bob, whether I agree or disagree, I think he needs to be addressed and understand what's going on. And I'm sorry, Bob.
Oh, hey, Bob.
We
So
all need
what
respect
was
equality,
wrong with
yeah.
how we were approaching it?
Yeah, I didn't
Because
see
we can
anything
disagree
wrong.
and want to debate this, but to sit here and talk about someone in that manner that has been done tonight, from my opinion, is my opinion.
I didn't hear
I
Bob
respect
mentioned
Bob
in a
on a different
negative way
level,
at
and
all.
I don't think we should be talking about other flat earthers in that
Well,
that
Bob
way.
is one of many different flat earthers. So if he
I just came in to say one comment to Mark Dossi before we move on. Just say kudos to Mark Dossi because I appreciate you, and we sat in another show a few years back, and whether we agree or disagree today, you keep it real, and I appreciate your approach to this. You don't have to just beat something down in order for something else to be real. You can only take the approach like, hey, this is what I witnessed, what I experienced, and this is my point of view, and I respect you for that. So shout out to Mark Dossi. That's all I wanted to say. I'll be listening in the background.
Jose, listen, you're a decent chap. I will send you a Christmas card every year because I think you're genuine. And you also play the game very cleverly on YouTube by keeping everybody on board. I don't disrespect you for that. Is it about personalities, though? Is our debate about personality?
How are you going to get rid of personalities, though, Mark? People have personalities. It comes out when we have discussion. It comes out when we have these, vociferous disagreement about things. I think it's completely healthy. Bob has his opinion of how he sees things. I have my opinion. Other people have their opinion. Yeah, we throw down a little bit. We get our personalities involved. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think we should go into this clinical, boring, approach, but maybe you have a different vision of what's in mind. So I don't know if I'm on the page there, but
there's two types of approach. The scientific, physical approach about the topic, about what we interested in, math, science, earth, physics, and the behavior of shit, and then the psychological part of it. And it's kind of, it can go hand to hand, holding hands, but we can also break it apart and approach one thing separately, and maybe, I don't know, do a different show for the personalities, which is always fun. Everybody loves the gossip, but the actual physical, the science, what we really like to figure out what's going on around us, I think that's what would put us together here.
Yeah, Jose, I agree with that. Brandon, I agree with you in that if there wasn't the personalities, then the conversation wouldn't carry on. I love to see what Blue Marble Science has got to say, because I can't stand his opinion, and I love to see what Sleep Murray has to say, because I can't stand his opinion. So yeah, of course I'm involved in it as well. I have to admit that. It is fun. It's entertaining, and does it?
Bob and I. Sorry to interrupt, but Bob from Globebuster and I have something in common. We own a piece of Jeran, both of us. I got a P900, he got a P1000. Boom! Shout out to Bob. I'll mute myself for the rest of the show.
Yeah, of course. It's an ongoing drama that we're all involved in. I don't know. I just wish we could just remove the personalities and actually get to the bottom of.
You're not the only one that feels that way. You know that? I feel that way too. I have my opinion, and I have made my opinion. I have stated my reasons for feeling that there is a downward accelerative force, but when that is met with people responding, claiming that I am an agent for the other side, or that I support child rape because of this difference of opinion, that's when, I just want to go away and say, you guys are all insane.
Bob, what is your opinion? Hold on, one second. Hold on. Bob, what is your opinion on
Arwen? A recording that you made on your own show.
Arwen, you're not interrupted.
Preceded the argument.
Now, Arwen, that was a hypothetical discussion that took place 4 years ago with Chris Geo, and I said a million times, I do not support this idea. Jaron kept pushing the idea, and I said, okay, let's explore that. But I said a million times, but no, you had to badmouth me, didn't you, Arwen? You had to make it seem like do you really believe that I support child rape, for God's sakes? You are insane if you think that. And for you to go around spreading that, Arwen, is about as low as it gets. That's bullshit.
You entertain dehumanization.
Look, you know what?
Hold
on. Who cares? You are just insane, Arwen. My God, you're crazy.
What it is.
This is your problem. You're
bring
insane.
It up constantly. You seem to bring it up everywhere you go now.
No, you brought it up, put it all over the damn internet because we disagree on
one guy.
Because we disagree. I've got it recorded.
Subscribers or something.
I've got it recorded.
Yeah, I know. It's still on your channel. I know.
It's not on my channel. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
It is not on my channel. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Hey Bob, it's great to have you here. Bob, I spoke to you about a couple of years ago on the one.
Pretty sure that the guy that put it on his channel got it from Glowbusters. So I don't know what
you're talking about. The show. The show was on the channel. That's been down for a long time. And you know why? Because of people like you, Arwen, that simply cannot understand the context of the discussion that was being carried on. But you had to put it to use.
The context.
No, you didn't. You didn't. All right, then tell me what the context of the discussion was, Arwen. Let's hear it.
Yeah, you were talking about the dark dynamics of what goes on with these people and their complexities, and I went all virtue signally.
No, that had nothing to do with the discussion at all. You are dead wrong.
Like,
You are
who
dead
can blame
wrong. You
them?
want to know what it was about?
Maybe little children don't have souls.
Oh, you
You
are
can
a
say that.
complete moron, Arwen. Why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Guys, let him sort it
Why
out.
are you
Let
making
Bob and
shit
Arwen.
up?
No, I'm
You are
not making
absolutely
shit
making
up. It's
shit
clear
up.
right
Yes,
there.
you are.
Came out of
The
your mouth. I'm
discussion
sorry
was
you
about.
can't handle what you did, Bob. I'm sorry.
Listen,
You
look,
said
I
it,
don't
not
take
me.
back anything about that discussion. We were discussing something very hypothetical, and I made it absolutely clear, Arwen, absolutely clear that I did not think that was not my personal opinion at all. It was a hypothetical discussion, and only somebody, an idiot like you, would try and put it in my mouth as literal. You're insane, dude. You are fucking crazy.
I couldn't say such things even hypothetically.
Oh, but you did.
You don't let past your lips. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're sorry. You're a jackass, Arwen.
No,
That's
I'm
what
just
you
not
are.
very
You're a
forgiving.
fucking
I'm sorry
jackass.
about
You
that.
don't fucking go around making up rumors like that about people, especially when you don't even know the goddamn context of the discussion. You are disgusting. You're disgusting.
No, I analyze people and I
No, you don't
analyze their
analyze
behavior,
shit.
and
You're
I
a
analyze
moron. You are
their general behavior,
disgusting.
especially when they think nobody's watching and they are actually.
Oh, right. I didn't
consuming
think anybody was watching when I get 1,500 to 2,000 viewers. Are you fucking insane?
Ooh, yeah, I know.
Listen to
you're
you.
so
Listen
much
what a
better than
moron
me.
you are.
Oh, you got
Oh
everything.
yeah, I didn't think anybody. Does anybody here believe that when I did that Glowbusters, I didn't think anybody was listening? When we had Chris and Cherie Geo on for a premiere show, big time guests,
you were
thousands
aware
of people.
everybody
Do
was
you
listening.
really believe that I didn't think people were listening? You are fucking
Yeah,
insane,
I know
Arwen.
everybody was listening, Bob. I was listening when that
Yeah,
happened.
but
And
you
I
just
was
said
shocked
I
when
didn't
that
think
happened,
anybody was
and I held my
listening.
tongue for the guys to keep the peace.
You hadn't
I
even
didn't
heard
talk
about it until
for
4
a
years
very
after
long
the
time.
fact, you moron. You hadn't
Yeah, and
even
then I
heard
started
about that
to
show
notice
till
your
4 years
aberrant
after the
behavior
fact.
online with other people.
Arwen, you're just a piece of shit, man.
And
Why
then I
don't you
felt
just
like,
fucking
no,
back off?
I'm not gonna keep my tongue anymore.
Your
This is getting
tongue.
atrocious.
You know what? Somebody ought to knock your tongue out of your mouth.
Oh wow.
You're a
Well, there we
fucking
go.
asshole. You are misrepresenting everything that I said, and you know damn well you are. You never even heard that conversation until years later, and it was only a part of whatever that guy Tony brought up, and then you start crying about it like a little baby on your channel. I can't believe it. I'm gonna have to cry. Yeah, I know, because you're a fucking crybaby and a jerk. That's why
Thanks,
I'll
Arwen.
never fucking deal with you. You're an ass. You are a fucking ass.
Wow. Okay. Can we be done with this bullshit?
Yeah, can we?
Yeah, are we good? Obviously,
boring.
I just want you to know, and I think I probably speak for a lot of people, Bob, that I don't think anything like that of you, and maybe we can just leave it at that.
Yeah, Bob, I respect
would love
you.
that.
I respect you, Bob, and I also do have a little bit of respect for Arwen.
Well, hold on. Let's have Arwen respond at least.
No, I don't care about both of you.
Bob
Let's
just
move
went on
on.
a tirade for 5 minutes. What does
Literally
Arwen
don't
have
care
to
about
say?
both of you. Let's just move on.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
let's get back to talking about flat Earth.
Gravity is only gravity, period. There's no two kinds of gravity. Gravity is just it. It was
Gravity is
described.
bullshit.
It was described one way 100+ years ago,
Yo,
200
Jose, I
years
thought you
ago,
were gonna
and
mute
it's
yourself for the
described in
rest
a
of the show.
different way later. So it's just a more elaborated explanation
two
on what
different
gravity
things,
is.
two different effects, two different causes, two different things. We need to separate them and realize that the way things move on Earth and the math formulas they use for orbits and shit in outer space are two totally separate things, and we can explain the downward acceleration or whatever you want to call it, the force on Earth. We
And
can
that's
explain
good.
that on
Yeah,
a flat
that's
Earth
good.
model.
That's
But they're
good that
not
you guys are for figuring it out, and I heard Brandon is changing the G for a X or Y, whatever it is. So you guys are working on it, whatever is funny or not, but at least you guys are trying to make sense of it. But understand that in the globe side, is just one gravity. You can explain it in one way, you can explain it in another, or you can explain it in a totally new way, which people is working on it today.
You know what,
Jose, that's
Jose,
not true, and you know it. There's more than one type of gravity on the globe side. Not only that, you've taken the exaggeration of what we're calling downward acceleration, at least in my model. Okay, let me make that perfectly clear. And you've extended it out to a planetary basis, like this, like there's some sort of a gravitational field. Well, if there was, we would be able to measure it, but it's not there. This is a local phenomenon, whatever it is. No, you can't. You cannot measure anything coming off the moon. The only way that they can measure it is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, two black holes came together, and then all of a sudden, that gravitational wave traveled 420 million light years and came across and then went across the LIGO interferometers, and then it shortened the 4 kilometer long tunnels by 1/1000th the width of a proton, and bada bing, there's your gravity from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's why flat earthers hate this bullshit, because that's what the ball earthers have done to this. It's bullshit.
And what we use today on Earth, on local level, because we're not testing this on the moon and in another bodies. People doing the quote unquote ISS, but I don't care about that. I care about Earth, which is the acceleration, the downward acceleration force that people call it a force, quote unquote, whatever. It's not a force, but that more elaborated explanation is from outside Earth. But on Earth, we use the Newtonian.
And in that, I happen to agree with you. And like I said, there's a lot of reason to agree with that, and there's a lot of reason that I disagree with the relative density disequilibrium. Okay, so again, I've stated the reason, and I will continue to elaborate on those reasons. But for people, again, my good God, people, you don't sit there and say, well, he's a shill because he believes this, and this starts the stupid argument like what Sleeping Warrior is doing. Look, I'm perfectly fine to let Sleeping Warrior have his opinion about relative density disequilibrium. I don't agree with it, but he can have it, okay? I'm not going to go out calling him a fucking shill or a child molester or anything like that. It's okay. If we can't discuss these things like human beings and adults, I mean, think about how this, and I don't know who the guy was saying this earlier, but think about how this comes across to the people in the outside world. And I got news for you guys.
I agree. Yep.
There's a lot more people that whether they're right or wrong, and I'm not saying that just because more people believe in it, they think there is something there to this gravity. Therefore, that's how we should be addressing it. We should address it on their terms, and then it can be debunked. That's where I want to go with it. Let's not I don't think it's right to come across and say it just doesn't exist.
It's there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
One last quick point to Bob. I'll concede the mic. Just one last quick point to Bob, because I appreciate I never spoken to him, and I listen and I hear you. It takes guts to appreciate that there's something going on there, this downward bias, whatever it is. And what I appreciate from a handful of the non-globe proponents is that they're trying to figure it out, and a lot of flat earthers, they don't like it. But there is somehow a downward bias there. It can be measured. You can use tools and technology to do it, and that's as far as I go. I'm not very articulated in it. I'm not here to defend gravity, but it's good stuff. So do your thing, Bob. You're good in my eyes. Most of the people, it's good in my eyes when they try to explain something and not only say, "Oh, I just gotta dismantle the globe in order to prove flat Earth." Kudos to you that you're trying to figure out what it is.
We are all
besides destroying the globe.
We are all entitled to our opinion and to explore things on our own terms. Bob happens to have a channel that gets 1,000 live viewers, and then he states his opinion and gets attacked. I don't think that's right. Bob should be able to give his opinion.
It's not. I agree with that. Yeah.
Just like me.
That's why I don't use my platform. That's why I don't use my platform to attack. No, it's not a debunking. It's not an attack. People, debunkers join, and people that attack others attack. But I there's too many places that do that. Attack each other arguments and debunk. My thing is like you, Brandon. Open discussions to sort these things out and brainstorm.
That's how we have to do it.
Jose, you've been getting more viewers because of Flat Earth. Come on, you know it, Jose.
So that's good. That's good.
Folks, let me just say, I wish that the argument of gravity and buoyancy was taken away from flat globe Earth argument, because it doesn't help anything. It only creates division. And we've seen a demonstration of alpha males coming forward to say that you've got to accept this or accept that. Bob, I'm glad to see you here. You had a really hard time a nights ago that I thought was totally unnecessary. But we never see Sleeping Warrior here, who really does need to be taken down a step or two. The Earth presents itself as flat and motionless. We don't need this gravity, this equilibrium cult discussion anymore.
Now, I got to disagree with you, Mark. The problem isn't that we're discussing it. The problem is the behavior in response to the disagreement. We should be able to discuss stuff and disagree. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's the people.
That's right. All we're doing is just denying it. That's the problem. You can't just deny it. You have to go into what's actually happening and address these specific issues like I have raised. You know, why is it the accelerometer does this? Why can we calculate it? Why can we engineer with it? Why can we use these mathematical equations that do perfect prediction of it? All of these questions, look, you cannot go into the normal world and simply deny something that every engineer and scientist in the world uses to design and create things. It doesn't matter if they're perfect or not. It's the way that it is. It's the way that it is, and therefore we have to address it on that merit. Okay, and that's all I'm saying. And you guys know, yeah, you guys know I'm a flat earther, right? I mean, my God, I've been doing this for 6 years.
Really?
I have worked my ass off for this community, and I am absolutely just in disbelief at the reaction that I have got over this. And I'm trying to help people here because, frankly, I think. I don't care if you think that I'm helping or not.
Damn it, Brian, let him finish. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, whatever. And I will continue to work against you if that's what it takes, because I need to make it clear to you that that acceleration is there. All right. And I believe that, and I believe it can be proven.
Well, that's what needs to happen, Bob. It needs to be proven. That's the part that has to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you cannot just sit there and say, when the relative disequilibrium argument, you can't just sit there and say, oh well, yeah, because Tony could have stuck his finger in that thing and it would have caused a displacement too. I mean, there's a million reasons that could have done what it did. He also could have said, well, because of the fact that I lifted up the salt and I poured it in there. That also, because you all have heard Nathan say, well, yeah, something fell down because I lifted it up. Brilliant logic, by the way, right?
Forget about.
But you can actually apply that towards that same argument. It's ludicrous.
Forget about that, though. Forget about all that drama, that shit there, though. Bob, forget about that shit. I disagree with you.
I don't care about
I'm not,
the drama. I'm
I know,
just talking about the argument.
I'm not starting drama with you, and I'm not 100% on board with your stuff. Neither are quite a few people on this panel.
And I'm fine with that.
Open to
I'm
it,
fine
right?
with that.
We're open to it. Absolutely open to it. But we don't want to go down the road. You know what I'm afraid of? I don't want to go down the road where we're adopting another model just for the sake of having a story to tell.
Well, so what do we do? What do we do?
Like I said, we have to prove it
wholeheartedly in gravity. We either have to prove it or we have to disprove it in a way that they understand. In other words, we have to meet them somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
We've got to do that, and that's exactly what I'm attempting to do.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, meeting them in the middle somewhere.
It's called the scientific method.
Bob, you're wrong.
How's that working out for you so far? How's that working out for you, meeting them in the middle? Just curious.
Bob.
Actually, fairly well. I'm having some decent discussions with some ballers about it.
Bob, we don't
I'm
need.
open-minded about it. I got an experiment that should prove it either way in the next few days, man. Hopefully, but I'm open-minded about it. I'm trying to be open-minded about everything, but man, it's the relative density. They said that there's no units. Yeah, there's no units for density by itself, but relative to anything else. That's
right.
How everything in nature works, in my opinion.
That's right. Did you guys hear Jay Tolan Media's new video? Right? Do we respect this man? Is this man is a Defense Department contractor. He's brilliant beyond belief, holds several master's degrees in electrical engineering. He totally knows what the hell he's talking about. And when he talks about a downward gravity vector, right, when he's talking about that, there is actually basis for that, right? So he's not just making this up to piss off the flat earth community. Do you guys understand that? He's not our enemy. He's trying to prove the flat earth, but he's trying to do it in such a way where we are meeting them on their terms. And I respect that greatly.
Bob, I still feel like you're talking to somebody that's not here, because nobody that I know of here has a problem with us
Ken
discussing
Wheeler.
this. Like,
Okay.
does anybody
Well,
on the
all
panel
right, then
think that Jay
maybe I'm
Tolan's
just
a
a little,
shill or that
maybe I'm
Bob's a
just a
shill?
little bit, maybe I'm just a little bit butthurt about how much I've been attacked over this. And if that's the case, then I apologize.
No, I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. I just want to let you know
Bob, can I ask
that
you a
ain't this
question?
place.
So, Bob, why do you think they're attacking you so much about it? In all reality,
I'm sorry, why do I think what?
can I speak to they're attacking you so much?
He thinks he's attacked because Nathan Oakley doesn't like
No, no, no. Seed Cleanser, I didn't ask you, Bob. Why
Well,
do
actually-
you think they're attacking you so much on it?
Why? Because I sit there and I listen to and I've stopped listening to them, by the way, completely. But Sleeping Warrior has taken on this whole thing. As with most of the Nathan Oakley gang, that I am paid opposition. You can see it. You can go read in his comments. He says it a million times. He's got all these other people, little cult leaders following this. Oh yeah, Bob is absolutely controlled opposition. He's paid to disrupt the community.
I get that, Bob. I get that,
Yeah.
Bob.
Well, that's why I think that.
No, but Bob, why do you think that they are doing that? Like, what is their motivation for doing
I think because he deeply believes in the relative density disequilibrium model, and I also, you know what, I see where he's coming from, but I also see that there's a big part of it that he is completely missing. And it's a very difficult thing to try and convey. But see, let me tell you guys
we
something
know
about
what's
this whole Sleeping Warrior argument. He
We
and
know
I
what's missing,
discussed this well over 2 years ago, and when it finally got into the point where he started telling my wife to fuck off, and then he blocked both of us on Skype and YouTube, well, the discussion was over then, guys. It was over then. He ended it, he terminated it, and then what does he do? He comes back and says, oh, Bob won't talk to me about it. It's like, well, no, I won't. Not when you do that with my wife, and especially when you block me. I'm still blocked to this day, as far as I know. So it's like, not only that, I don't like the guy. I just don't like the guy. I don't want to discuss anything with him.
But
Can't stand him.
But what I'm trying to point out here is like,
goes, we know there's factors missing to the relative.
Hold on, Arwen. Hold on,
The
guys. Hold on.
overarching
Hold on, Arwen.
Right? We know this.
Hold on, Arwen.
Sleeping Warrior knows this.
All right. I'll hold you on. So who was asking those questions? Because it sounded like you had a follow-up.
I was, and I was saying, yeah, I was just gonna say, Bob, like, I feel like they're doing that because they understand that gravity being real or acceleration being real, a downward bias being real, means that, wait a minute, there are some things unaccounted for that would lead to a globe, right?
But that motive.
I mean,
And I disagree with that.
right?
I disagree with that. I don't think that my idea of this downward acceleration will bring the globe into the realm. Because remember, guys, in order for that gravity model to work, you have to be able to have this field that extends out into the cosmos. This is not what's happening here. And in fact, if you understand theoretically the way that gravity works, it also must comply to the inverse square law, right? Which means that if it's this weak down here, how in the hell would it possibly be pulling anything from light years away or 93 million light years away? I mean, there's so many other ways to attack this. No, it does not contribute to the idea of a ball earth at all. In fact, it completely debunks it.
Well, Bob, but I think I think we should at least nod to the fact that, like, that is why people are being so incredibly visceral about it, because they know if they admit downward bias, acceleration, any form of gravity, then holy crap, there's something.
I get that, but I can't help other people's misunderstandings about it. I've tried to make it as clear as I can.
Yeah, we
I
don't
got
need
a
to
way
be
to prove it
frightened.
one way or another, guys. Y'all want to hear my experiment? Okay, what we do is so if there's a downward acceleration, then that explains buoyancy, and that's explained by displacement, which is an extra equation. But what I've figured out is that if we take and y'all tell me what you think about this. So if we take a balloon, I'm gonna mix some baking soda and vinegar and get a balloon of carbon dioxide, and then I'm gonna get a same size balloon of helium. I'm gonna sink them in water, and I'm gonna see how much weight it takes to submerge them. So I'm going to carefully use like little, like 1/10 of a gram, little lead weights and stack them on just a tiny bit at a time. And if they're separate equations, if it's just a displacement, then the helium should have the same lift as the carbon dioxide. But if it's just relative density, like I think it is, the helium, it'll take a little bit more lead weight to submerge the balloons, and it won't be just displacement. What do you think about that? Is that worth trying?
Brian, what does
I
it
don't
have to do with
I
the
don't
shape
get
of
it
the
at
Earth?
all. Honestly, I really don't get that at all. But
What,
maybe I
what
just
does it have
don't
to do with the shape-
understand.
What does it have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Hey Bob, I want to ask you a question real quick about inverse counter space between our poles, our electromagnetic poles. What do you think of paramagnetic and diamagnetic fields?
What do I think about it? I don't know. There are things that are
God.
paramagnetic and things that are diamagnetic. What does that? I don't
Do you think
understand what
that-
you're asking.
Do you think there will have like helium is diamagnetic? Do you think there is any type of force acting upon that in our natural world?
Well, I think helium is diamagnetic. I mean, we know that. You can Google that and find that out. And I think that absolutely could have something to do with it. But honestly, again, when it goes to displacement, I realize a lot of people say, look, if you do tests in a vacuum chamber, well, because there is no natural vacuum in nature, then that invalidates the test. But I frankly think that's ludicrous. What you're doing is you're eliminating the buoyancy and density argument, and you're leaving a pure product of acceleration behind. And then we're measuring that acceleration, and we can see changes in that acceleration. And so what I think we need to really be able to do is explain what it is that we're seeing, like in gravimeters or accelerometers or whatever. We need to explain why those devices are getting different velocities of these fall rates.
I believe that
Because-
could be electromagnetic, them little differences. But what I was talking about, so you at least understand what I was saying, is that on the globe model with the gravity and the buoyancy math, okay, the balloon that I fill up with carbon dioxide will displace the same amount of water as the balloon with helium. So it should take this, if I submerge them both in water, just barely in water, it should take equal amount of weight. In the globe model, it should take the exact amount of weight to keep them submerged. But in my opinion, if relative density is all that it is, then that math won't work, and it'll take a little bit more weight. It won't be displacement alone. It'll take a little bit more weight to keep the helium submerged. So now you see what I'm saying? Like we submerged two balloons of equal amounts of gas. But you feel me?
No, a globe model doesn't predict that both those will take the same amount of weight.
Yeah, they do. It's just as the water displaced. Is all it is in the globe model. It's just water displaced.
That's what's
the
in
density
the water.
has no.
The globe model is dumb as fuck. Stop defending it. Jesus Christ.
No, it's the density inside the balloons plus the displacements.
Can't predict that.
Right, displacement.
Well,
Wait, whoa! What did you just say? So you think the globe model predicts that the helium will take more weight to keep it underwater? Is that what you're saying?
Has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
Because that's wrong.
Yeah, he's wrong.
Is less
The
dense
globe
and
no claims to that.
wrong.
I'm not sure what'll happen, but I'm just telling you what the models predict.
All right.
Less dense things floats. Or well,
Hold on a second. I just want to know, Bob, if you do find some evidence of this electrostatic magnetic ether, are you going to share it with the community, or is it going to be like everything else?
What the hell do you mean? Is it going to be like everything else? You want to elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Guys, where's the?
Oh shit!
Welcome. I'm here. In the corner.
Hang on, let Bob respond.
Just say welcome to me.
Johnny,
John.
hang on real quick. Let Bob.
Shut up.
No, I just
Talking about
did
the
respond.
gyro.
What the hell are you talking about? Like everything else? You want to
Like the
explain
gy-
that?
Yes.
Everything else?
The gyro. Where's the gyro readings? The laser test that you guys promised. All the stuff that you guys do. We don't see no results.
It's funny with that, man. I had a discussion earlier in Nathan Oakley's with Syncleanser as well. I said if would probably change If you go higher you go, it might deviate.
Yeah,
But
well,
to be honest, that's what.
and I can answer that, but I want to know what the hell you're insinuating. Like everything else. If you're talking about one thing, first of all, I have to tell you that I'm only one person in FE Core. I do not make all of the decisions. I have the data right here on my laptop in front of me, but here's the problem, and here's the only reason I have not released it yet. Because the output format, first of all, it puts it out in a binary format. You guys wouldn't know what the hell you were looking at if you did. And so therefore it's going to take somebody to educate you on exactly.
Hold on, folks.
How to even read the data in the first place. And what we proved is that it was not the Earth rotation.
15 degree per hour.
That's what would help it. That's what would help us out a lot. Like you just
Yes.
said earlier.
Okay. All right. You know what? You know what? I'll make the freaking data available too. But what I'm going to tell you right now exactly what's going to happen. You're going to look at it. You're going to say, we don't know what the fuck this is. You're not even going to know how to change it into a readable format. Great. I'll make it available.
But hold on, Bob. Listen, hold on 1 second. Hold on, RC.
And tell what your methodology was.
It's
and so that we
fine.
know what programs to use.
Yeah, we just want to. If you got 18 degrees per hour, 17 degrees per hour, that's fucking awesome. We desperately need that because we're having a Coriolis debates every day.
Yeah, Bob. See, here's the thing. You got the 15 degree hour per hour, but I'm sure you've also, from what I've heard from you before, is that at a different altitude you got a different reading.
And I was
guessing that's absolutely correct.
So that's good for us to know those things.
Yeah, that's huge for
us.
us.
You do know it because I've told you that.
So
I'm simply
help us
saying,
out, brother.
I'm simply saying that the way that the data is in its current form, without understanding exactly how the machine outputs it and understanding what's going on in it, you're not going to be able to understand what's happening. That's all I'm saying. And if you really think you can figure it out, then great. I will give it to you. Absolutely.
If you give us enough data, if you give us the amount of data that we need to figure it out, we'll figure it out.
Can you send it to me, Bob?
No, not URC. Listen, Bob.
All right, I'm going to make it available right now. Hang on just a second. Let me go into my Google
Awesome.
Drive.
Thank you so much.
You guys wanted it. You're going to get it. But I do not want to hear one iota. Not one iota of horse shit about what is this? We don't even know what's going on. Because you're not going to know.
Fair
Well,
enough.
great. Good. I got your word for it. It's coming at you guys.
We're
Hang
not
on a
gonna
minute.
listen.
Bob,
We're not
as long
gonna
as you
shit
give
talk
us-
you.
Bob,
Hold
as
on,
long as you
Jeremy.
give us
1
enough
second.
data- Hold on. Who's talking over me right now?
You're talking over me
Give us
right
enough
now.
data.
Shut up, Sinclair.
Did you give us
Shut up,
enough
Ed.
data, Bob? The
Hey, Ed.
necessary data to figure it out. We'll figure it
What's
out.
up, John?
And I very much appreciate it.
I'm
Thank
listening.
you.
Bob,
Because it'll
Bob, we're
save
not
us a lot
against
of
you here,
time.
bud. Bob, we're not against
Save
you
us
here,
a lot
bud.
of time in Coriolis debates. Trust me. The time it'll take to figure it out is nothing compared to the time we've taken debating Coriolis with these motherfuckers.
All right, we got
not
the
gonna
data
rotate.
now. Much appreciated, Bob. I think that,
Thanks,
that'll
Bob.
be good. Somebody out there will be able to help us interpret that, and that'll make some people very happy. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes.
All right, guys. Here it
Thank you,
comes.
Bob. Thank
Let me
you.
put
I
it in
appreciate
this
it.
Hey,
chat.
Bob, I just want to let you
This
know, man. I
helps us out
appreciate
a
everything
lot.
you're doing, dude. I definitely appreciate it. I don't know
Yes,
how they
this
feel
help-
about it.
All right,
this
cool.
helps
There it
us out a
is.
lot.
You see it? Do you guys see it? It's in the chat. It's in the drive.google.com. There's your raw data.
This helps us out a lot, Bob. We
Beautiful.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you again.
Hey, Bob, just for the
That's
latecomers
some
here,
good
what's
shit right
what's
there.
the data from?
Yeah, that's perfect because that's something globalists don't have. They
The
don't have-
data is the raw output binary file from the fiber optic gyro itself. Now I'm going to tell you what you're going to need. I'm going to tell you what you're going to need to interpret it. First of all, you're going to need the software from KBH, excuse me. Then in that software, it makes a conversion to an Excel spreadsheet. Then once you've got that, then there's about 10 gazillion entries because it makes an entry every every second or so. And then you're just going to have to interpret that raw data. And like I said,
nothing we can see then. It's not an experiment. It's nothing we can see. Again, it's just assumptions.
I have told you. I've told you exactly what it is, and like I said, the people in FE Core that were able to understand it and do understand it and did decrypt it in the first place, which is Sandor Selsky, by the way. Right now, they are in hell right now in their country. What's going on? You guys, I shouldn't have to tell you this. And frankly, nobody in FE Core has been very active in anything because we're too damn worried about our countries and our families.
Sure.
You know?
I understand, Bob. We're not. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody here, but we're not attacking you, man. Definitely do great work, though.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I
Anyway, so
respect you,
thank you for
Bob.
the
That's-
data, Bob.
that's-
What was the name of the software again? Just so everybody that wants.
KBH.
It's the KBH for the software for the fog.
Software for fog. Okay. All right. So everybody, you've got that out there. It's sitting. I saved the link. It's
Good
sitting in
shit. Yeah.
my Discord. So unless you've analyzed this data, unless you've taken a look at this data and analyzed it yourself, don't fucking say thanks, Bob, anymore. Just shut the fuck up.
Pin it, Brandon. Can you pin that, Brandon?
Thank you, Bob.
Brandon, if you hover above that comment and pin it, it will stay in the pin comment in your general, so it's easy to find.
Oh, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thanks Bob meme has gotten so fucking old.
Yeah,
now
it's
if you
all
want to deal with the
annoying.
actual data, let's hear.
Did you guys see my award I got for that? Did you guys see my award I got for that this weekend at Oktoberfest?
Which one? What did you get?
It's epic. It's epic. So we decided that I was just going to own that, right? So I got the first annual Nodell Award, and it's this beautiful trophy, and it has a globe on the top of it, and it's the first annual award for excellence, and it says "Thanks, Bob" on it, right? Because that's the big tag phrase. So instead of being an insult, you know, everybody just decided to make it an honor. Because I didn't get a Nobel, then I got my own Nodell Prize.
It's better than the honor. They're saying they can't prove rotation. Only a flat earther can prove rotation for them. That's how stupid they are.
That's exactly right.
It's just educating people about the other alternatives that are out there, ether, electromagnetism, or otherwise. They're acting like gravity is the only game in town. It really isn't, or globe making gravity anyway as the only thing that can explain this. It's not. There's other explanations even over a flat plane.
Hey, Bob, I want to ask you a question. When I message you, right, it won't allow me to message you. It says we're not in the same server, but we are. I don't understand.
I'm sorry. What Don Gio? Is that who you are?
Yep.
I'll go to my friend request and approve it.
Bob, I seriously
appreciate it, Bob.
appreciate you
Appreciate
giving. I really appreciate you giving us that data. We definitely can use it. It'll be a big help. I mean, we're out here having debates over whether the Earth rotates or spins every fucking day.
Okay, just remember, guys, I made it very clear to you the problems that there's going to be with decoding this. I don't want to hear any flack about it.
No problem. No problem. I think people got that, but I did want to say, Bob, you made sure that library that you linked us to is read only, right? No one can fuck with that file and delete it.
No, nobody can fuck with it and delete it. And it wouldn't matter if they did. It's on a Google Drive. I can always put it back up again.
Okay, just wanted to make sure before I put it in the YouTube chat. Some people were asking.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just shared Google Drive with a bunch of family. Baby shower. I didn't know how to upload a bunch of files and videos, and I created a shareable link from my Google Drive, and I checked it from a different phone, from a different account, and I cannot delete it. I cannot mess with it at all. So there's a way that you can share a Google Drive. There's a way that you can share a Google Drive on deletable, if you know.
Well, Jose, how you feel about the Earth being flat?
Can you mute yourself, Jose?
Why, man? I've been nice today.
I'm just joking. It's John.
So, Bob, can I hear from you? Do you believe that this data indicates that the Earth is indeed not rotating?
This data indicates that there is something that is rotating at or about 15 degrees per hour. However, like I said, when we change the altitudes on the same latitude line, that data, that rotation data varied by greater than 1 degree per hour. That in and of itself disproved Earth rotation and was a huge step forward because of the fact that we have been told throughout history how the ether behaves in this vortexual manner, and it validated essentially exactly what we've been told historically about the luminiferous ether. That's what it shows.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So that's what
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
quite.
So
that's what I was telling.
Hey Bob, hold up. Can I ask you something?
Got an answer, RC. You're done, dude.
No, I'm asking.
That's
Bob
what I was telling
not
Sin Cleanser. I was saying if he would have went like
in
20
any event,
stories high,
Bob,
it might
how do you
change.
get so? I've heard
RC,
you
come
talk
on, dude. Hold on. Jesus Christ.
me,
Are you
guys.
kidding me?
So
No,
Bob,
look
I've
at
heard you
this.
talk multiple times
Look at
about
this.
calibrating machines.
I was telling.
Oh my gosh. I've heard you talk multiple times, Bob, about calibrating machines in order to understand their measurements and be able to juxtapose them against, actual understanding what it's measuring. How do you calibrate something like a gyro compass against ether?
I don't. First of all, I have no idea what you're talking about. That I've talked about calibrating machines. I don't even know what that is.
You cannot
So
calibrate
you must have me
ether.
mixed up with somebody else.
Yeah, so you were talking, for example, you were talking about how to calibrate an ammeter, or for example, a voltmeter.
Yeah, it's a sea lion. You're sea lioning.
So I'm asking Bob, how did you calibrate this particular instrument to measure the ether?
We didn't calibrate it. We simply took the raw readings that were coming out.
Yeah,
Look, everybody, when I fired it up, now remember, you have to remember, what is a fiber optic gyro? What is the purpose of the fiber optic gyro? It is it's an extremely sensitive navigational piece of equipment that can basically tell you if you've rotated an X, Y, or Z axis by one red cunt hair or not. I mean, it's unbelievably accurate. So what I'm saying is that when we turned it on, that's the first thing that we picked up was that, and there's video of it, guys. There's video.
I know.
All right.
Stop over talking, RC. Come on, let it hear him. I want to
So
hear
that's all I'm saying. Look, and it took us a while to figure that out. Of course, all the Globers immediately, of course, of what I said, I was being completely honest, but immediately, without any validation, without any demand to see the data, without even knowing that I wasn't the one that did the test, I hadn't even touched the fiber optic gyro by that point. They immediately went, oh, look, Globebusters, Bob Nodell proved the rotation of the Earth. This just shows their fucking desperation. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous how desperate they are.
And they're asking me, are you with Bob? Are you with Bob? Like, it's just like a game. It's not a fucking game. Fucking listen to Bob, what he is talking about. It's just a discourse.
But what was really proven was a 15 degrees, something happened, 15 degrees movement. Now is the way you want to interpret it. Globers want to interpret it as the rotation of the Earth.
Right.
You want to interpret it as the ether.
We now have two experimental datums that disprove rotation of the Earth. One is Airy's failure. Very simple, because remember, this data was known over 100 years ago by the Michelson-Gale experiment, right? Why didn't the ball earthers come out and say, oh, look at the Michelson-Gale. Look, they found that exact same rotation that Bob Nodell did, but did they claim that as Earth rotation? No, hell no, they didn't. You know why they didn't? Because, first of all, then they would have to disprove the ether, and that's, they did that mathematically, right? But they couldn't go there. Because Michelson-Morley also did not detect motion around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour.
But the ether is something that is not scientifically accepted today.
Yeah, no.
Oh, but it is. But it is. It
Bob,
most certainly is.
Bob, I'm interested in the fact that you use an interferometer or an accelerometer like this to be able to measure angular displacement. Right? That's how we can calibrate the thing. We can turn the thing 90 degrees physically in our hands and then watch the thing have turned 90 degrees, right? We calibrate it. We say, okay, did it turn 45 degrees? I turned it 45 degrees in my hand. And so we can say, I know what causes this reading. It is angular displacement, physical angular displacement. And so I'm trying to understand how you went from, okay, we can see how it physically has an angular displacement to there's a magical angular displacement in the air somewhere.
Because not a magical one, because we're trying to understand what motion it was reading. Look, otherwise, if we simply went by the fact that it was picking up a 15 degrees per hour, and I picked that fiber optic gyro up, and if I turned it around at a really, really slow rate, about 15 degrees per hour, then I could say, well, that's Earth rotation. And who's going to prove me wrong? This is a precision piece of measurement and navigation equipment, right? This is something that is used in every airliner all over the world, right? We cannot dispute the fact that it functions this way. All
I mean,
right.
hell, Bob, it's used in a G1000 on Cessna 172s. Like these are ubiquitous these days. Right?
Great, yeah, but they didn't used to be.
The point is, Bob, is that we know what typically causes this Sagnac effect to be measured, which is physical angular displacement. What I'm asking you really is like, how do you go from, okay, I see physical angular displacement is what causes a reading, but now I'm seeing one while it's sitting on the table and I'm automatically invoking some other angular displacement.
No, I'm not automatically invoking anything. I'm going back to something that has been known in science long before Einstein decided to get rid of it mathematically. You don't seem to understand. Sagnac, it was Sagnac that actually proved the luminiferous ether, and it was Airy's failure. It was Airy's failure that proved that.
Hold on. Who the fuck is talking over
Professor,
Bob
please, can you not interrupt? Bob is in the middle of his statement.
Yeah, I'm not here to argue with this with you guys. I'm telling you how it works.
I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to understand you, man.
It's not me. I didn't invent this piece of equipment.
Guys, please.
So you need to call the engineers at KBH and ask them those questions.
I think you have to listen.
The engineers will hang up on them.
Yeah, guys, I mean, Bob was in the middle of the statement, Professor Philbert came in hot, and you guys want to interrupt. Why don't you allow Bob to finish his statement clearly? RC Maisty maybe want to have an extra point. Why can't we allow them to have this combo for 2 or 3 minutes? There's nothing wrong with that. Brandon gave me a shout out, Jose, can you keep an eye? Because this is it. We want to hear what both sides have to say. So please, no need for interruptions. Come on.
The other side has nothing.
Crit, let them speak.
Yeah, all they do is take 24, divide by 360.
You're doing it, Crit. Come on, Crit. Let them speak.
Yeah. So Bob, I am hearing you out. I am actually really, I think it's amazing that you're doing a lot of these things. Not a lot of people would go out and like try to figure out with their own freaking interferometer what the hell's going on. But what
it wasn't my interferometer. I didn't buy it. That's another misconception.
Yeah,
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, long story short, I'm just interested in how you get from where, like, when you see a voltmeter and you put it, on something to measure its voltage, we know what it's measuring. Why? Because we do something like see something that has 12 volts. We measure it and like check it out.
Yes, and again, I will tell you one last time. Listen this time. All right. The interferometer was the very same instrument used by Michelson-Morley, Michelson-Gale, Sagnac, and a slew of other scientists. Okay. This is a technology that has been around for over 100 years, and they know full well at the time, and the hypothesis, the theory at the time, all of it, was that it worked via measuring motion through the luminiferous ether. So you're sitting there trying to convolute what I'm saying by saying, oh, well, I just magically decided that this is what it was going to be. No, I didn't magically decide that at all. This is established science that's been around for over a century, and I would appreciate it if you'd stop trying to put words in my mouth.
Okay, I will do my best to not put words in your mouth, Bob. I apologize if you felt like that's what I was
That's exactly what I felt like, and I think my discussion with you is probably over. Let's move on.
What I'm
it's
trying
over,
to,
RC. Let's
what
move
I'm
on.
trying
Please.
to
Let's move on.
is
He
how
wants to
you
move on. RC.
All right.
Dude, let's not milk it.
Okay.
Let's go.
We're good.
Bob got to
Thank
say
you,
his
RC.
piece. Now I'd like to finish up with mine.
RC.
The point is, Bob, is that
Let him make one last
you're
statement.
invoking
RC,
the
go ahead.
idea-
Make one last statement. Go ahead.
Yeah. The point is that you are invoking another cause to what we know a calibrated causes, which is angular displacement. And
no, you don't. You don't know that. And I'm not invoking anything. You are completely making shit up. You don't know shit.
When we put a freaking ring laser gyro inside of a G1000, we are not asking for anything else other than the freaking plane to turn on one of its 3 axes in order for it to register on the artificial horizon.
Yeah, and you know what that tells me? That you have no damn idea how it works.
If something else could have.
Hey, RC, tell me how the interferometer works. Tell me how it works.
What it does is it measures the.
I don't care what it does. Tell me how it works. You're going to sit there and put words in my mouth, and you're going to sit there and make up shit left and right when, frankly, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You tell me how it works. I'm listening.
Yeah, no problem. So you have a light source that you bounce off of, usually 3 mirrors. You can use 4 if you'd like. It actually doesn't matter. It just needs to get back to another point. And what you do is you time the light from one place to another and where it hits, where it displaces itself or has a different timing from one mirror to the next, okay, and or however it displaces from one to the next. You can actually get at least on one axis, but usually 2, depending on how the ring laser gyro is set up. You can get an angular displacement in physical space.
Okay, wrong. All right? That's all I'm going to say.
No,
You're dead wrong because, first of all, we're talking about a fiber optic gyro here, not a ring laser gyro. Okay, and we are using, what do you think interferometry means? We're not timing. We are timing, but the way that it's devising that motion out is by the shift in the interference pattern. That's why they call it interferometry.
I understand.
Okay,
that.
so no, you don't understand that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be just making shit up.
When did I make shit up? I described the Sagnac effect that you can use either with a straight beam of light or using interferometer, getting the exact same reading.
Really? And how does that work in the Michelson-Morley device? What's the difference?
I don't know what Michelson-Morley's setup was.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. All right, next question.
All right.
Bob,
so
really
I wanted
fast.
to.
Was that right?
Bob, was that right about?
Hold on, Don.
Can
Hold on,
everyone
Don.
hold on for a second?
Hold on.
Bob, real quick.
Hold on. You got a question, Jeremy?
Yeah, real quick. The software we need to decrypt that data that you gave us. Is that something we need to purchase somewhere, or?
No, it's available free. Hang on a second. You know what? I think
right.
I can have a link to it. Just a second. Let me go find it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Bob. And I'm sorry I went so hard on you the other day, but this shit has had me very tight, so I'm sorry.
Dude, I think people
Well, if you think you've been having it tight, think how I feel.
Yeah, I think people have been giving Bob a little too much shit, at least in the flat
May I ask
I
him?
agree. I agree.
May I ask him now?
Hold on, Don. I did want to give. This might not be a popular move, but Professor Phil, if you have a question that is legitimate and constructive, go ahead and ask it, and maybe Bob will answer. No, you missed your chance.
Careful now, Phil. It's your only chance.
Yeah, there's no need to get the emotions in the way of actual data and talking about the topic. There's really no need. The excitement, yeah, must be there, but the emotions to get the best out of you, no need for none of that shit.
Well, the thing is, we do have angular displacement, which causes it, but relativity says that the object can be moving and or the space around the object could be moving and could give you a similar Sagnac effect. You can do a quick 15-degree jar to the airplane to get that 15-degree gyro drift, and or have space accumulating a force registered in the gyroscope that could accumulate and become 15 degrees over a certain amount of accumulated time. Either way, you read a 15-degree shift with a sudden jerk or an accumulation of something, in the gyroscope or whatever. So either way, you could explain the results. It's just how you want to interpret it.
Can anyone repeat what Lemon just said?
Very simple.
Yeah.
So
he was saying, no.
Basically saying there's a
He was
phenomenon
saying
taking
everything is
place.
moving above. It
And-
doesn't mean the Earth is moving. It's a question about, is the Earth moving or is everything moving up?
Hey, guess what, John? We have a lot of
that's
people.
true.
that
And the
actually-
thing
hold
is-
on. Hold on,
Okay,
Lemon,
guys,
Lemon.
here it comes.
That is a light.
Here it
and
comes in the chat.
Everything is moving above, not the Earth.
Moderator.
Can I answer? You wanted to respond?
All right, there's your link. There's your link, guys. You see it?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. I got it.
Let's see if Ed can
Thank
repeat
you.
the answer.
Thanks, Bob.
Ed, the
So may
answer
I
was
ask him
everything
the question?
moving.
It does
above
roll
it.
off the
Quiet,
tongue.
Chris.
Thanks, Bob.
That's what I'll say.
May I
Yeah,
ask him a
thanks,
question
Bob.
now?
What you guys watch? Ed won't be able to repeat the answer.
Quiet, Crit. Nobody cares.
Ed is a
May I
ask him-
dumbass, Crit. We don't need to talk to Ed, please.
Yeah, he
Okay,
won't
well,
be able to
guys,
repeat the
guys,
answer.
I just want to ask him a question.
I appreciate all the questions and everything, but really I stepped in here because I just simply wanted to try and defend myself one last time and say that, look, everybody has the right to their own opinion, especially when they're offering evidence to bolster it. And I am doing that. And all I'm saying is I don't appreciate being called a child molester or support child rape, or that I am a paid
Yeah.
disinformation agent. And, you know, I just wish people would accept that and stop saying I'm a shill, because that's not true. And you guys know that.
Well, listen. One thing to say, as a part of the people that are on Nathan's little panel, Arwen is a dumbass, and I don't think you should say that kind of shit. That's fucked up.
Okay, so you know how closer
I'll
you
agree. Arwen is a dumbass.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that shit about people.
Man.
All right,
Don't take it to heart, man. Arwen thinks he's an elf.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
For yourself, and I say Bob is
Okay,
all right.
knock it off, guys.
And
Let's move on.
Bob is right, and talk for yourself.
And I
This
love
one is
Bob.
moving
I think Bob is so cool, and I think what he's doing for the community is just great. I think it's awesome.
All right, let's take the
love
focus, off of Bob. We've been mobbing him for quite a while, but I think Don had a question.
Well, it's just more of like a thought process I had with Sin Cleanser.
Isn't it a weird
Say an
Don?
object is, yeah, say an object is moving 100 miles an hour. Closer you get to it, it will appear to be moving much faster, even though it's not. So when you take the ring laser or that pherometer you're talking about, move it up in elevation, wouldn't you be getting closer more to the ether or whatever you want to call it?
Ether is all over. It's not ether is not in on place. Ether is the placeholder of everything.
Johnny, I'm asking.
Exactly. He's right. We're within that field. And essentially, if, like I said, you have to imagine it like a tornado, where it starts slow spinning at the top, and then as it comes down, it spins faster and faster and faster. That is precisely what we measured.
Really quick, Bob, I sent you a direct message, but I guess you gotta accept my friend invitation whenever you can. Check on the DMs.
Okay.
You got some supporters, Bob, man. You got some supporters.
Hey, I do have
both sides.
And Bob, listen to Bob say I was right.
He did say you were right, John. I was very surprised to hear him say that, but that did happen, and I'll clip it out for you.
No. I'm always right. You just have to understand what I'm saying.
Well, it wasn't that I was right. I just couldn't understand you, Johnny. I can't understand.
My bad, Don.
I couldn't understand how you were saying it, Johnny. It's
it might be that. Therefore,
that's probably your accent or something.
But I really know what I'm saying about someone.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't want to take time, but I can tell you the message is just inviting you. I invited a long time ago through like text chat, Bob, in different channels in the YouTube chat, to my channel one day. I'd like to pick on your brain a little bit, just one-on-one. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not a debater. So you and me, some type of interview type of thing. We'll open a little private room one day and we'll go live whenever you decide to. I was going to send you a link to my channel, but you can find it, Jose JG or Jose Flat Earth. You'll find me around.
Mic check. What's going on, everyone?
Just so you know, Jose, if you're worried about the people calling pedophile and stuff, Jose did call Witsit. Or no, not Witsit, Nathan, right? Were you all?
I don't agree with none of that. Yeah, that's not part of what my server or my channel is whatsoever. Drama is off topic 100%. Is I like the trolling, I like the having fun, but I always keep it PG-13 and drama free. So that's the key.
Did you apologize,
Thank
Nathan?
you.
Well, let's not get into it. I don't want to.
Don't worry about all the name calling and shit. Yeah.
Stop being a drama.
Go ahead, Brandon. Keep us on
let's. I did want to kind of do a little follow up. I'll share my screen here, and some people might think this is kind of dumb.
People project a lot.
I was looking on the internet last night for some answers to this, and it was pretty interesting. I couldn't find an experiment like this that has been done. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, I'm about to go there. Let me see.
Share it in Discord.
Yep.
We can see it.
All right.
I can.
So, what the consensus seemed to be last night is that if you did this, if you had this setup here with these glass enclosed airtight cases, same amount of oxygen in either one, you've got the balloon in either one, the string in either one, but this one has some helium in the balloon that can lift this weight. That these two boxes, even though this balloon over here on the left-hand side is lifting the weight off of the scale would balance out and weigh exactly the same, and put it exactly the same amount of pressure down on the scale, same amount of force. Right? That's kind of what seemed to be the consensus last night, is that that's how it would work. So my follow-up question was, well, okay, so if I just drilled a hole in the side of the glass box and this pressure equalized, what would happen then?
Can I say something real quick, Brandon?
Well, if it's the answer to my question, yeah.
Yeah. What you have this separated from the electromagnetic fields, paramagnetism.
I was thinking I'll go out to smoke, so I was just thinking.
I'm not sure that has any impact on it, to be honest.
Well,
with you.
helium is paramagnetic.
Are the boxes supposed to be inside a vacuum?
No, the boxes aren't in a vacuum. The boxes are like, think of it as a vacuum chamber filled with air. Okay? So
Right,
it's airtight.
Helium still paramagnetic. It's still magnetic, even in a vacuum. It's still paramagnetic.
All gases are paramagnetic, man. Quit saying that.
So have you looked at those?
Well, let's figure out. Well, I'd say that the helium would equalize in both containers or go to a certain layer and kind of hover there. That's what I would say, but I don't know.
So what do you think, Lemon? Do you agree that in this setup here, where the weight is being lifted in the air, that this side would balance this side?
The side with the air, that would rush into the side with less air to equalize.
So this one, if you poked a hole in this one, then here they're balanced. They're exactly the same weight here, right?
Let me see. Got the balloon to the left. On the other side, you just got air on the right.
You got air on the right. You got the same amount of air.
And it's enough of whatever, helium, air, whatever, to balance on the scale.
Yeah, this helium balloon is lifting this weight off the ground.
The air would rush into the side with
no, these are airtight. These are airtight.
Airtight?
Yeah.
Huh. Is there any air inside of the side with the helium, or is it just helium?
Nope, this side's filled with air except for in the balloon. That's helium.
Because there's enough air helium to weigh down on the scale that much, so you'd expect the air to equalize and push into that side. So you'd, I guess you'd expect the weight to go down on the right, the weight to be lighter on the right as the air rushes out. And I don't know.
Is that supposed to be a deflated balloon on the other side?
It'll be heavier on the left.
I'd like to know what location you're going to do this.
I'm going to do it in a location where there's no electrostatics whatsoever. It's a magical place where you don't have to worry about any of that.
Look, that's why I say, man, that if they don't invoke a void, then it'll always go up. You know, but if you say that there's a void underneath the Earth, that's what it boils down to, is what's underneath. You know, as long as there's a medium, then relative density works. Now, if there's a void underneath or up above, then we have to have you know, in my opinion, we'd have to explain it. But as long as there's a medium, you know, then like I said, you could put that in a container, and the whole box in a container of water, and it'll float. But then if you weigh that box of water and everything in it, you get the total weight. But then you could put all that in a box of mercury. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on if there's a void underneath us.
I think the air would rush into the left side and the balloon would be compressed and feel some pressure. And so helium in the balloon would need to reconfigure. It's kind of like reorganizing the mess in your room and trying to fit more stuff in the same room. So it would compress, and either it would pop or it would be the same helium but compressed. So I think the weight would slightly go up on the left side, but ultimately it would be equalized maybe, but I don't know.
Right.
Well, my final answer is this. Here's my final answer. My final answer is that if there's gravity, then it'll weigh more. The helium will weigh more than the other side. But if it's just relative density disequilibrium, then it'll weigh less.
Well, I don't see it that way. It depends how you position it, north or south or east or west. We have an electromagnetic field, whether you want to ignore it or not.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore it for now. But so what you're saying, Brian, is that for this left one, you think that if gravity works based on a force, an external force, like how they say mass attracting mass or whatever, that these two will equalize, with this one without the hole, that these two will equalize and weigh the same. And if it works based on density disequilibrium, that this one would weigh less than this one. This one will put more force downwards. Is that what your answer was, Brian?
He tripping.
Did he say that? Did Brian say that? Brian?
I have an answer if he's not going to respond.
Both cases,
Let's hear it.
rises on the left.
What's that?
Let's hear what percentage thinks is gonna.
Okay, so
hold on. This other guy said something. Wait, your next percentage.
I'm just saying in both cases it rises on the left because helium's less dense than oxygen, or just air. If there's the same amount of air in both boxes, plus then you add helium into the balloon, then it's going to sink on the left.
Okay, yeah, it's the same amount of air in both boxes. You're correct. It's got the same materials in both boxes. The only difference is the left side, the balloon is filled with helium. That's the only difference.
Okay. All right, then it would sink because you're adding more stuff into the box with the same amount of air.
Okay. Adam Meekin asked in the chat before we let you answer percentage, does the top of the container impede the rise of the balloon, or is the string taut? I hadn't thought of that. Tell me what difference it makes. I guess for the purposes of this, it's just suspended in the middle of the fluid. Yes, the top of the box impedes the balloon, but it's not touching the top. All right, percentage, go ahead.
Okay, so you said they have the same amount of air in either one, right?
Yeah.
Now, before getting into the drilling hole thing and the amount of pressure of the air, the left one, if they have the same amount of air, is going to be more dense. It's going to be heavier than the right side, and this is because you have to pump in more, there's going to be less volume because of the balloon for that same amount of air, and so it's going to be more dense. Okay? Now, if you're drilling a hole into them, that's when things change, because if you're drilling, let's say they have, the right one has room temp, atmospheric pressure of air. It has like 14.7 psi or what have you, right? If you drill a hole into the left one, then that's going to equalize, and it's now going to be less dense because there's going to be the force of the helium balloon pushing it up.
Yeah, and since the balloon ain't going all the way to the top, I changed my answer because I was thinking like ping pong balls in a boat. They just put a bunch of ping pong balls in a boat until it rises up. So I was thinking of helium balloons in an airplane. It's going to make the airplane lighter, just like ping pong balls in a boat. Wow. But if it's not touching the top, then it's not going to help lift it. So I changed my answer if the balloon's just floating in there to I don't even know.
I changed my answer too in terms of the last part, the drilling the part. So when that more dense air on the left equalizes, then you've achieved equilibrium with that helium balloon in that more dense air. But when it becomes less dense, then it'll be, the balloon and weight will go down because the medium is now less dense. So it's going to be heavier still.
Well, everyone's allowed one answer change per show. You both just use yours, so.
Well,
yeah, the left is always heavier.
Well, the experiment doesn't, or the result doesn't change if the balloon's touching the top or not, because instead of pushing up, it's pulling. Instead of pushing up, it's pulling up on the weight. So whether it's touching the ceiling or not is irrelevant.
He's right. I got to change it again. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No. The whole box is on the scale, so that's all you really need to know.
So what happens when I drill this hole though?
The weight is going to go down onto the scale, onto like the bottom of the box.
Okay.
The left
side
go up.
The left side will go up. The left side will be lighter then.
No. The left side, the scale will go down. The scale and balloon mechanism, like that thing, because now the air is going to be less dense. That more dense scale is going to, more dense weight is going to go down. It's going to float downwards, and it'll be heavier.
Yeah, there's a really good video of this where it shows wood in a vacuum compared to just wood outside in another box. And the one in the vacuum. Let's see if I got that right. Yeah, the one.
Hey, can I clarify? Sorry.
Were you finished?
It's a lot of confusion.
I need to know, is the scales at the bottom of the tank, Brandon, or are they inside the tank? Because I'm considering the scales outside the tank.
The
I might have
scales
been
are
late to the party.
outside the tank. Yep, the boxes are sitting on the scales. I know it's not the greatest diagram, but
Yeah, I think if it's relative density disequilibrium, the left side should be lighter, and that's why I was saying to submerge balloons underwater. I think it'd be the same scenario basically, as they would lift higher. It wouldn't just be the displacement of water like the globe planes. It would be the helium and relative density disequilibrium. Then there is no force one particular way and then the opposite way, so it's going to be it's going to take more weight to keep the helium down than the carbon dioxide.
No, man, it's always going to be heavier on the left side.
No, Globe does not say that it's going to be the same for that.
The globe goes by water is 1 gram per cubic centimeter, dude. Okay, the globe goes by displacement, bro.
No, if you fill the balloon with sand, it'll sink.
But I think what happened.
No. I meant that I'm filling one balloon up with carbon dioxide gas, so they're both going to want to come to the top, and they're both going to be displacing the same amount of water. But if it's only displacement, it'll take the same amount of weight for them to come up to the top.
Helium is less dense. It's density plus volume, or really there's correlation.
Yeah,
That's
so
not
just
how
think about
buoyancy
it in
works,
terms
though,
of
man.
think of it in terms of volume, and don't let the balloon just takes away from the volume on the left side. So you have more volume on the left one, right? Now you're pumping in the same amount of air, the same amount of matter. So that means that one's going to have more matter per volume. It's going to be more dense, the left one. Okay, so it's going to be heavier.
You'll register a slight, probably very slight weight change, but once the air rushes into the left, that will provide a new medium to buoy up the balloon. It will no longer interact with the scale, and the scale will only read air and interact with air. So it'll probably just zero out after the slight, weight change when the air rushes in and buoys up the helium balloon again.
I don't know about all that. Depends where you're located at.
Yeah, the buoyancy force only goes by the fluid density, and if they're both in the same fluid, then it just goes by the volume and the and the amount the it shouldn't. According to the buoyancy equation, the helium should displace the same amount of water as the carbon dioxide. That's all I'm saying.
You have
Misunderstanding here somewhere, but I know that if you start with a balloon of air and it'll float. Oh, hello.
Oh, you're cutting out whoever was just talking.
Well, on the left you have purified energy ether, and so the helium reads that and tries to expand to become the new medium with all of that energy. But once the air from the right rushes into the left, it will shove out that helium, take all that energy, and the helium balloon will just have to compress and go into a smaller space. So there'll be, I guess, a competition to see what, if anything, is going to fill up that energetic, ethereal ether medium in the vacuum, as it were, or the vacuum itself.
And also, I will complicate it with there is no closed volume. There is a whole thing that is putting its the helium is putting the other things against. So it is not a closed volume. It's a whole volume.
Well, you see something similar with the astronauts who were in the vacuum and their blood was boiling. Their blood quite literally wanted to jump out of their bodies with the gases in their blood and become the new medium in this quote-unquote vacuum. There was all this energy for the picking, and, it became a dangerous level of quote-unquote boiling as, your blood itself wanted to jump out of your body into the medium.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, good night, brother. Good night. Bob, nice talking to you for a minute earlier. Everybody, keep it earthy. Keep it earthy.
All right. Thanks for stopping in, Jose.
Keep it
Appreciate
real. Keep it
no
flat.
problem.
Thanks for modding for me when I went to the restroom, too.
I was here. Listen,
You got it, bro.
I was here. I had everything under control.
Who said that, Jeremy?
Thank you very much, Jose.
I didn't know because you're
Nice
working.
to meet you. And
I thought I was on
your
Jose's
place.
show for a second.
Yeah,
I know, me too.
I'm not a control freak, so fuck it. Go ahead.
Thank you, brother. That was very, very nice.
Yeah, the flat Earth does not decide about control and dominance over people's ideas. That's globalism. Globalism is all about control.
That's not what globalism means.
But
Yeah, you don't know what English means, dude. You're that dumb.
how
that's
sick
you.
I was flat
You're
Earth
dumb,
1
Ed.
week.
No, that's
you have
you.
a problem with English. Even
You
simple
have a
words.
low IQ.
All right, let's
Yeah,
not
your
bicker.
IQ is even lower.
Let's not bicker.
No.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
stumped by flat Earth, a concept that was mastered by cavemen 10,000 years ago.
Right. You're stunned by your own
Crit,
words.
who are you talking to? Who
Ed.
are you talking to, Crit?
Mr. Educationally Deficient.
Yeah, Ed is a dumbass. I would agree. 100%.
Mr. Speech Impediment.
He's a
Good,
likable
that's another
dumbass
thing,
though.
too.
But let me read this.
I think
Godzilla.
we all
How
intelligent
Hold
old
on.
were you
dumbass
again,
all
Chris?
together.
You're in your 60s and you still talk like that? Are you fucking kidding me?
I gotta
Hold on a
give
minute,
it to Ed.
guys.
He did.
Hold on. Godzilla 37, like 2 hours ago. Super chat. Thank you, Godzilla 37. He said, "Blood sports tonight, entertaining to say the least." Not sure everyone enjoyed it, but it was entertaining for sure. Thank you very much, Godzilla. At least it was real.
What do you mean with at least? At least.
To say the least, he means he could say a lot more.
He can say you are wonderful. It was
It is
Yes.
what he's calling an idiomatic statement. It doesn't quite mean literally what these words are saying. It's a way to say that, you know, you could probably say a whole lot more, but you're saying less to be polite, or, you know, just not to say everything that's on your mind, to say the least.
Yeah, let's see if Ed can repeat what that means. He won't be able to do it.
Yes, I know what
Nobody can repeat what Lemon says.
No, everyone could except for you.
No,
Everyone
nobody
in this
knows
room.
what he says. Nobody.
Yeah, everyone in this room is able to repeat what he said except for you.
Yeah, at least, John.
Well, I'd say that his grasp of English is very poor, to say the least.
Yeah. That was the best. At least.
Yeah, good one, John.
Well, guys, we got 20 minutes. Anybody got a topic that they want to close out the show with? Something that's on their mind?
I definitely would like to close out on the 24-hour sun in Antarctica and the conundrum that it curtails when you look at the evidence presented. It's pretty weak. There's a gentleman by the name of Andrew Powell who's offered to reimburse flat earthers if they go down to any of the bases in the south to film the 24-hour sun. The reason why I bring it up is because there's 3 videos that are available out of a plethora of technology we have. The 2 videos that are present are heavily edited, and the 3rd video requires the sun with a watch next to it. The concern or issue as well is the position at December 21st and June 21st. Between those 2 peaks in the cycle and the globe model, you have angles to the sun that are like 36 degrees, and you're supposed to be Earth's supposed to be tilted at 23 degrees. So it's the observer at the latitude that changes the degree, and that not the tilt, or is it? Well, I'm just saying. Anyway, so that's what I'm.
No. You're rambling. Have you?
That's the conundrum, because there is no.
Have you listened to my presentation of
Can I
24-hour
finish?
sun
Can I finish?
in North and how it's working? Have you listened to?
Yeah, go ahead, wrap it up, Data. Hold on, let Data finish. Wrap it up, Data.
So if we want to conquer anything, I think the conundrum is such is really what's going on in the south.
There is
I've
no
already
24-hour sun in
demonstrated with.
South.
John, let him finish. John, chill,
But
man.
he's lying.
Just chill. He's a flat earther.
And
Just
I can finish,
let him
please.
talk.
So if I can finish, so my research shows me that prior up until Andrew Powell, there's not really any information on the 24-hour sun. I don't see any old archive footage from the 60s, 50s, 70s. Nothing with that evidence. It's only this guy, Andrew Powell, and those 2 other heavily edited videos. So on that premise, the circling sun wouldn't work on the Gleason's map. So this is the conundrum. So I think if we're going to go, and let me just finish off with this. If it was direct evidence of a ball, it would end the flat Earth debate, but yet all the Globers are here debating still. That has to tell you something about the 24-hour sun and the legitimacy.
Well,
let me say something. Hold on, because I did a lot of research into this when I first got into flat Earth. I put out like a 40-minute video analyzing the videos available, and Data's absolutely right. There's only like 2 people out there who will show you like a edited, very slick 24-hour suns, and they've both been used in documentaries from like National Geographic and Discovery. One is Joshua Powell, and then there's one other guy, I can't remember his name, and those are the ones that Google will return you if you search for 24-hour Antarctic sun. My question is, with thousands and thousands of people supposedly going down there every year, why aren't there more videos of the 24-hour sun? Why is it just these 2 guys whose videos I can seem to find? And why are they edited?
It's not even just that.
Antarctica videos are showing, they're saying a midnight sun, but not a 24-hour sun. They're saying a midnight sun, but not a 24-hour sun.
Okay, let's pretend let's pretend there is a. Hold on. Let's pretend there is a 24-hour sun. Does anyone
what a midnight sun
does
is,
anyone prove
dumbass.
this? Ed, can you hear me talking? Hello. Pretend this is a real thing. The 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Is there a flat earther in here that thinks that proves the globe?
Nope.
That'll put me on the Pac-Man map for sure.
Is it relevant if you think it proves the
I'm
globe?
sick and tired of this.
No, you don't have to go to the Pac-Man map. Don't be crazy.
There is no proof of sun in
Oh, but there is. Yes, there is, John.
The only thing you have a proof of is a twilight and daylight.
So
Exactly.
just John, this is for John.
And
this
that
is
can
for
be
John.
explained on a flat Earth model
Can I
quite
speak
easily.
towards John?
No, it can't.
Sun.
Let me speak towards John. John,
The
there
coffee
is
cup
currently
stick.
It's sick and tired of it.
John, right now, as
Doesn't
it
matter
is,
flat earther or somebody is talking
John,
about it or something.
John,
There's no...
just relax. John, relax and listen, please. There is 3 videos right now. 2 of them are heavily edited. I shouldn't say heavily edited. They're edited, meaning the one video has the first frame and last frame match, which is not, if you're shooting a 24-hour thing, there's no way the clouds will match your first frame and your last.
That one, actually.
Yeah, there is no...
the second, let me finish. The second video, let me finish, John. You're having a hard time with this, I know, because it's a conundrum, okay? It's going to make your brain go all crazy. Everybody else went crazy trying to find the answers too. Listen, the second video is edited time lapse, and if I reversed the direction, you couldn't tell either direction if it's going north or south. That's the second video that I've come across. The third video is by Andrew Powell. He's the one who is offering to reimburse people to go down to the bases and film the 24-hour sun. Now that I said that, go to the time and date and look at the sun angles at December. Anyway, look at the end, let's say February at the end. You're looking at the maximum angle at 36 degrees. Well, is that to tilt the Earth? Is that refraction?
Well, the Antarctic video appears to be highly edited and fake. The only thing that we're seeing in Antarctica appears to be refracted light while the sun is far off and refracted over what appears to be a flat plane. So you have the sun circling overhead with refracted light, say, off of the dome, off of, great distances with the cold air. That appears to be what we're seeing, while the true 24-hour sun is over the Arctic. A fake one appears to be doctored and photo edited over Antarctica.
I get it. Let me
that is the Jeremy, to answer your question, I would change my mind if somebody showed me that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Why? Then you're on to presupposing how the sky works.
I got it right now.
No, because at least that would show that there's two poles.
You just can see the sun.
Yeah, but how do you know how the sky... Oh, my bad. Go ahead, John.
You can just see the sun in Antarctica very short time. Very, very short time. Because the sun is going so further in the south circle. In the circle, it's going very, very faster. And what the people have to understand is the difference between the sunlight and daylight. Daylight is because of gases in the atmosphere, and that's tainted gases that make the daylight. It's not the sunlight that
Yeah, the
make the
charge up
daylight.
there is charging the gases up there, making them glow different
Exactly.
colors. That's what
Thank-
Yeah,
causes
we know
the
there's
daylight.
What evidence do you
The
have for
sun.
that?
there's a dip.
Hold on.
But it's the sun
Oh
in
yeah,
the
there's
sky.
videos.
That it happens at
No,
You see
night.
that?
the,
Is
the
it?
ionosphere.
Oh, really?
Data, I tagged you in it. Look, that's the one you were talking about, Data. I think.
That's part of my model too, Brandon, with the two surfaces with the positive charge above and the negative charge below.
It's about gases. Gases.
Yeah, the noble gases go all the way up to the top, and then this charge that's in the upper atmosphere, as the sun comes around, I think it must be like a wake of water, and it sort of pushes a bigger amount, as the sun's coming, and that comes first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when if you make a circle in a bucket, and you keep circling around, the wake in front of you is always going to be pushing ahead because you're continuously swirling it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't just be behind you, so you'd be able to push that charge out ahead.
And can I say also you can prove it in a lab.
Oh yes, and there's been actual demonstrations of
demonstration in a lab. Yes.
This electricity, this force moving, like the neon tubes of light, and I think it's plasma or something as well. They can move.
Yeah, it has nothing about
these
the
gases.
plasma. It's more about the gases and the electronic
Yeah.
and radiation.
Yes.
Radiation from the sunlight. So the sun is a part of it, but it's not the direct sunlight. No, it's not that. But is it really radiation from the sun? It can be other things also. But everything is working together. It's not one thing that's happening. It's a part of many things happening together.
Nice big dynamic system.
Yes, dynamic.
Then the moon comes around after and cools things down. Keeps that movement happening. And that force, to me, that could be what is pushing this ether.
How did we get talking about ether when we're talking about the 24-hour sun?
Yeah, I was talking about movement. So, if you then, keep the thoughts going of, okay, well, if the sun and moon are going around and, you've got this movement of this charge and what have you, then, if that's what if the fog is picking up, if the interference pattern is from, the fiber optic gyro picking up this drift, then that works as well. So if it's there, then no worries, I can account for it.
So in the South, we would have possibly very charged sky ether that's lit, but the sun is nowhere to be seen. You just have a very lit sky of charged light, but no sun.
Lemon-bird, because that circling would push it outward. Which is what normal rotation does.
Hold on, guys. Hey, let me have a moment here, please. Let me have a moment here, please. So, Lemon-bird, according to old researchers of earlier navigations, there's reports where they never seen the sun above the horizon ever in Antarctica or past a certain parallel
that's right.
line. So that's what the literature says. And then like I said, if I go into the archives, 60s, 70s, 80s, and I start researching anything to do with Antarctica, you would think that early discovery, they would highlight the 24-hour sun in the documentation. Exactly. I can't find any. No. Okay, so let me finish. I'm just being honest with you guys here. So I appreciate the same courtesy. Okay. So when I asked Nathan Oakley, he says there's no 24-hour sun, and he sent me off to the plumber in Antarctica, right? Now I'm here the same thing. And the reason why I'm doing this is because this is the final chapter in my book, The 24-Hour Sun, because it is the final conundrum. Now, what I also notice is that if it is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the globe, that would be the ultimate proof for the globe. And the glober doesn't need to debate flat Earth anymore because it is a solid argument for two polar rotations. The problem is...
No, it's not.
Let me finish. The problem is the debate is still going. So why is the debate still going?
Because
Probably
they don't have that.
I kind of agree with him. I kind of agree with you, Dado.
Because
didn't
they
hear
don't
any
they
word
don't
of
have
that.
it though. Because they
A
don't have it.
24-hour sun.
I
A
would agree with you
24-hour
on
sun.
that.
it's about understanding why it can be both ways. You have to understand that.
You have two polar rotations in opposite directions.
Okay,
That would indicate.
Okay, and now
that
you
would
now you have to
indicate-
know how the
I
sky.
indicate
Now
a
you
ball,
have to know.
Because we have two
Now-
electronics.
I'm next when John's done, guys.
Magnetic electronic polar. That is not like it's like a cylinder. Electronics
point.
polar over.
Oh, you're not done.
If you
If
don't
someone's
understand that,
offering to
you
pay
say,
for a
oh,
trip
you don't
to
understand.
Costco,
Okay.
I can settle that.
But I am saying this because
I'm not making any sense of what's going on here. Brandon, are you moderating? Because it just
No,
sounds like
I'm not moderating. No, I'm not Data.
Understand what he's saying either.
It's all about electronics.
John's drunk.
We're moderating, Data. As soon as John's done, I'm going to go next to say something.
Just tell
coherent.
John to be quiet because he's not making any sense whatsoever.
I want to let everyone get their words out. Are you done, John?
No, John, it's not that I don't understand. You're not very coherent is the problem.
All right. A 24-hour sun doesn't rule out. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you go. You go. You go.
A 24-hour sun does not mean it's a globe because now you have to know how the sky's working.
No,
or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're just begging the question.
So here's what it does. Here's what it does. Here's what it does.
Let me answer Jeremy, please. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it doesn't matter how you look at it. It's a logical conclusion. You cannot have two, like the sun moving on like being on the center in one place.
How do we know it's not the next door neighbor's sun just peeking over?
Now you're adding
that
to
will
the
be
conclusion,
just then
Well,
you end up believing in the
assuming you're on a
Hold
ball.
on, Page.
No, it's not.
You end
Not at
up
all.
you end up believing in that. Hold on,
I'm
guys.
just trying to point out you have to beg the question of what you're standing on because you're not actually
You
proving.
you end up believing in the Pac-Man.
Believing?
No.
Pac-Man
No,
map.
it's not believing. It is question on facts together.
No, we could be millions of little ponds all next to each other on a big ice shelf, and their sun. We can just see.
Paige,
Well, it's
now,
no
if
different
you-
to saying, well, we
if you
must
go
be
off-
on a
if you-
ball, and it
if
must
you go
be.
If you go off in that, avenue, you're no better than a globe retard. Dude.
Okay, there is no proof for
Okay,
it.
hey, Dada, can I say something real quick? Dada, I
So,
agree.
so
with
in
you
other
to a
words,
cer-
my bad, Don. Go ahead.
I agree with
So
you
this
to a
is
certain
not even
extent.
my argument, dude. I'm just saying it's a
It's
question
over.
to do that.
I agree with you to a certain extent. The only thing that gets me is the maths. It must be off. Either the Earth is 100 times bigger than we are told, or whatever. Oh, that
No.
more.
It can't be.
If that's the case,
So
because
if
the
Page
math is off,
presupposes
dude.
data, so if Page presupposes
Again, it's not the
how
math.
the sky data,
It's not the math. It's the data.
data. So if the Page presupposes how the sky works, she's no better than a glober, right?
If she's talking about other pawns and other
Right.
suns, you
And
got
that
it.
was my point. I'm not even saying there is a 24-hour sun. I'm just saying it for you to assume it's a ball. It's just as bad to say, okay, well,
No,
it could
it's
be.
not assuming. It's not assuming a ball. It's doing
But you
deductive
are. You're
reasoning.
begging the
It's
question.
Stop.
No, it's
That's
not.
deductive. It's deductive reasoning from two rotations, observed rotations. Now you can claim it's perspective.
But
Now
I
I've
can
done.
show
Listen,
you two
Paige,
different
stop.
rotations
Paige,
with the
Paige,
stars.
stop.
I can give you
Stop.
explanations
Paige,
for all of that.
Paige.
But it's got nothing
I've
to do with
tried.
the ball.
Listen. I've tried to model the explanation, flat earthers' explanation for the opposite rotations. The explanation is it's no different than the happy happenstance of the sun and moon being the same size. Okay, it's the same line of thinking. What I'm trying to do is use deductive.
I'm a flat earther. You've never asked me. What are you talking about? Are you just putting us all in the same basket and saying we all think the same? Is your book?
Okay,
Are
so
you going to come out and say all flat earthers think this and give an argument? Is that what this book is?
Everybody in this arena will eventually have a quote in the book once I ask you. Okay.
Oh, fuck
the point.
me.
The point is that when you use this reasoning of two polar opposite rotations, you have to look at reality, and it doesn't work on the Gleason's map, or doesn't work on a flat disk. That deductive reasoning.
Rubbish! I just told you a way it could work.
Assuming it's not a reflection, assuming it's not refraction, assuming it's not another sun. But the
Yeah,
thing that is necessary to prove the
That
globe
would be
is
tough.
curvature.
They could
8
prove
inches
that.
per mile squared of curvature is the most necessary thing to prove their model relative to a straight standard.
Exactly.
And
So
unfortunately,
this
they
is
do not have
I'm
that.
with you on it, dude. I'm with you on it,
Lemon Bird,
Dado.
this is exactly right. That's why it's called a conundrum, because I fly planes, small planes, there's no curve, there's no 8-inch drop. So our senses do not pick up curvature. But what this 24-hour sun video does is it leads into investigation, because prior information available they don't show it. So all of a sudden this Andrew Powell guy has it, but yet for 30 years there's no evidence of it. No video evidence of
Can I
it.
ask you something real
So
quick? If you don't,
go ahead.
If you don't see the sun though, you just see a slight gloom or slight set.
No,
right?
if you look at the time and day information from November to February, it's above the horizon all day, every day, all day long. It goes anywhere from 23.4 to 36 degrees in the sky from November to December, according to time and date. Okay.
Data, would we be silly to presuppose how the sky works?
Again,
Would
it's
that
not
be
about
silly?
the.
Would that be silly of us? Can you
Listen,
just give me a yes or no answer instead of some
No,
convoluted
it's no, because listen,
monologue you're about to do, please? Yes or no?
The conundrum is there's no physical representation of 8-inch per mile square. Okay, when we go up in the sky, according to the ball concept of boats going over the horizon, that doesn't match reality when you get high up in the sky. There's no boats going over fuck all. Okay, it's only for a 6-foot observer, which is a little peon in his angular resolution and refraction cutting off the bottom of shit. The point is that it's a conundrum, because if it is true that there is a 24-hour sun, then there's something major wrong with the circuit. Either it's going in a figure 8. Okay, so it does the Tropic of Capricorn in a circle, and then it switches over to do Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn between the two, and it does a figure 8. So it does the one season as it transfers, it cuts across, does a figure 8, and does it that way. That's the only. But then if I do it that way and I model it that way, it works fine. But then it doesn't match with the land masses. Doesn't match with what everything is positioned. Okay, so I'm trying to use the evidences around me without being firsthand evidence going to 24-hour sun. I notice strange discrepancies in the data reported, whether it's 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and 3 years ago. Okay,
Was that you answering my question, or I just said you're going to go on a fucking monologue? All I wanted was a yes or no answer.
Out of that, if there is two opposite polar rotations, then the circuit of the circling sun wouldn't match. You'd have to now do a leap of logic or whatever, fly the seat of the pants, to come up with a Pac-Man map.
No, you'd have to presuppose how the sky. No, you'd have to presuppose what the sky is doing and how the sky works.
So I'm not presupposing anything.
Don't be afraid, Jeremy.
Exactly.
They don't have it. Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid. It doesn't do anything. Once you start presupposing how the sky works, you might as well just pack it up as a flat earther.
It's a logical conclusion.
Hey, Dado.
You cannot have any other way.
Dado, did you know the former NASA employee David, a former NASA employee David, worked in Antarctica? You know about him?
I've seen there's two dudes, that are floating around right now. Yeah.
So he's been down there in Antarctica. He claims that he did see some sunlight, but not the sun 24 hours.
You see, I have a personal friend who works with National Geographic, who's a photographer, was just down there, and he swears he's seen the sun above the horizon all day long.
Okay.
Dada, what if we can't? What if we cannot perceive the sun anyway, but in this first-person view? Like, what if we literally cannot draw it in a orthographic type way to, triangulate positions and stuff, because everybody is seeing it from a first person perspective? Like, it could be something like that going on.
Well, I do agree with the personal dome and the way that the appearance of the rotation works based on our perspective. So I do understand that approach to understanding what we see. Again, that's not focused on what the problem is. The problem is if
no,
you have...
you missed my... Yeah. No, I'm saying, what if we literally cannot represent this place?
Sorry, Paige. I say, why not talk about the facts?
So why do they?
We
Why do
know
they?
there is a 6 months of darkness in Antarctica circle. There's a fact, okay? Then the other 6 months, there is no light at all. So much. It's very, very, very small. It's just we're talking about daylight. Then in a small time, you can see the sun. Yes, that's it.
Data. So why would they lie about film of 24-hour sun? Why would they do that if that was the case? It was so. Why would they fake it? Because you have
doesn't
seen
even
some fake...
prove anything. This doesn't even.
Right,
This doesn't even prove anything.
I get that, Jeremy. But what he's looking for, they already have faked it. They already had faked it. As soon as they fake it, dude, that right there should already.
Ask them. Not me. I don't care. I'm just saying how it is. Ask them.
Well, I have this from Southern Israelite site. I put it in the chat. It says, the record states that the sun is rarely seen in these regions. Frederick A. Cook, MD, details his journey to Antarctica 1898 to 1899, stating, we should have seen its warm glow at midnight and at midday, but we have not seen it at all. Both sunshine and actual snow showers are very rare. Given the heliocentric theory that the Earth is a globe tilted 23.4 degrees, that means that all regions of Antarctica from the 90-degree latitude to the 66.6-degree latitude should experience the same solar phenomenon. Yet we see a blatant contradiction. The testimony that we have received from the numerous government agents that troll flat Earth channels is that the sun can be seen high in the sky for 24 straight hours at the South Pole, yet at 73 degrees latitude it sets for 3 hours. 90 minus 23.4 is 66.6. That zone past the tilt from 66.6 degrees to 90 down to Antarctica should have the same solar phenomena. Yet around summer for the southern hemisphere, we see the sunset for 3 hours. Around November at 73 degrees latitude, something isn't adding up. We do not see similar activity mirrored in the north. This evidence utterly destroys the heliocentric model. What must be happening with the sun, as we have seen from a previous video on Professor Stick, is refraction. What may shock the viewer to know is that this is actually a well-known and accepted explanation for the midnight sun in the south, thus to James Clark Ross. The setting sun was a most remarkable object, being streaked across by 5 dark horizontal bands of nearly equal breadth and flattened into a most irregular form by the greater refraction of its lower limb as it touched the horizon. Thus we see why this region, though subject to so much of the sun's rays, is not conducive of plant and animal life. The great amount received in this region is not direct sunlight, but is only refracted light. This is then the mystery of the 2 alleged poles solved. Why is the northern Arctic Circle conducive to such plant and animal life, even in ancient times conducive to a tropical climate, but the Antarctic region is not? Because the northern region is receiving direct sunlight, whereas the southern is receiving mostly refracted light.
And Hummingbird, hold on.
Can you give me that link?
Nobody.
I
Can
agree.
I want that link.
Can you post that in the general, please?
Yep, I want that link.
I agree 100% because,
Fantastic.
like all I said, all old information, even in the right up into the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there is no documentation for it. Nothing. All there is descriptions and there is dates and times, but there's no video evidence of it. Like I said, that's why I have to write this down and finish this, because it is either a conundrum or it's a big deception here. Now, the videos that are out there, I'm still waiting for Andrew Powell to respond back, because I asked him about his son. Now, what I did is I looked at that footage, the Andrew Powell one, with the watch in it. I took one of my animated sons and I plopped it right up there and I made it look exactly the fucking same, relatively the same. So you can mock these videos. You can mock that. You can shoot it one direction, reverse it, and put the thing up there. But if that's the case, then you look at the process of what they did to a watch. So there's a technique for a watch where you flip the rings or the gears on it, and you can have it go backwards. Whether they've gone through that extent is again, I have to believe that they would go through all that. Now, is it impossible? No. So the only conclusion I can find is to actually get personal information, because the gentleman that I know, that I've known for a long time, who is a photographer in National Geographic, he swore by it, but when I asked him for evidence of it, he sent me those same 2 links.
That's odd. That's very odd to do that.
I got such a real question.
Don't you find that odd, Data? Don't you find that odd?
That's the whole
Look
point.
what Kosha
is that-
posted for proof.
Yeah, I just got one.
You're a clown, bro.
I just got one thing to say. I got one thing to say. The GIF that I posted is from Robert Schwartz. Okay, on that GIF is a website. Robert Schwartz has footage of him going up there for the past 20 years, every winter, every summer. He's got plenty of videos, plenty of pictures. Midnight sun, 24 hours. 24 hours of darkness. So,
How you know
he's got
it's
the
not
moon,
splicing, Kosho?
moon cycles,
How you
and
know
all
it's not splicing?
Yeah, that's the
How you
second
know it's
guy
not
I
splicing?
mentioned, Kosho. That's the other guy. There's Anthony Powell, and there's Robert Schwartz.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Robert Schwartz video, if you look at it, the way it's time lapse. Now I've looked at all the smokestacks. I reversed that video. I slowed it down. I posted a video. This is last year I did this video where I posted it down, and I think what's his name? Shills vs. Shills. Actually, it's either him or fucking Subgenius guy. They both viewed that video and they concurred with me that if I reverse the footage, you can see the smokestack going back in. Thereby proving that it's filmed in the north and then reversed and shown as the south. That's the conclusion
I posted. That's fantastic. There's 84 videos on his site.
Look
He
at
goes
that
up
right
there
there.
every summer, every winter.
Also,
You guys upgraded him, huh?
Also, there's never 6 months darkness in the north. It's only in Antarctica.
Kosho,
Just
Kosho,
think about it. Darkness, absolute darkness in the south.
Right.
Of
Kosho, explain to
Antarctica.
me why the clouds are the same at
It's not
23
happening
seconds.
in the north. So we are not on our spare, like the global think. It's impossible. Impossible.
The same cloud.
Is that the guy you were having? You were going over that footage with about how he was saying it wasn't looped with Sean I Smoke Crack Rocks. Sean, I Smoke Crack Rocks Hawkins.
Yes, that is the one. Yeah. I should post that again.
That's looped,
Yeah.
ain't it? That's looped.
This is the
100%.
footage that Brenda doubled down on too and said that it wasn't looped. It was
The very same. And by the way, when I
continuous
debated her
footage.
2 weekends ago, she did admit. If I can remember.
What?
No,
You
somebody
debated
else
Brenda?
admitted she was wrong. I don't
Where?
think she ever admitted it. On her channel, she
where
asked me
can
to
I
come on
find
her
that?
channel. So I came on there one
Okay,
Saturday
cool.
morning. I can't remember the name of the channel anymore. I'll have to dig it out. But
You know how hard that is to get somebody to admit that?
yeah,
Even when I show them this, dude, I can show them out in person and they'll be like, oh, no, you just making it up. Nah,
Well,
you
good
did
on her
that.
for
You made the
at
cloud
least
like
admitting
that.
it finally.
Yeah, it was a reasonable conversation. I think she's trying to be more reasonable. At least that's what it sounds like. But anyway, we've been down that
Oh,
road.
awesome.
I want to read a couple things, and then we're going to do final thoughts tonight because a lot went on. I want to give people a chance to say their final thoughts. And then hopefully we'll never have to have the discussions about any of this drama shit that we did tonight. Esteban Ilabaca, any camera that worked 24-hour nonstop back in the 80s? Yes, my response is, have you ever heard of time-lapse photography? And when was that invented? Because I believe that they've been doing time-lapse photography for a very long time. I'm sure
That's how they began film videos with time lapse.
Yeah, exactly. And then his other comment was, how many 24-hour sun videos are from the North Pole? A lot. In fact, as we've been sitting here talking, I'm just clicking on one after another. There are so many from the north, and one of the reasons is because it's more populated above that parallel, so people actually live inside the band of where you can see the sun above the horizon for 24 hours a day, and that's not in contention in the north.
Another reason is it's actually happening in the north.
Yeah, that's another clue that it's actually happening in the north, and in the south is two guys who both work for.
Yeah, but Brandon.
Who knows who they work for? There's a lot of government agencies that work down there. There's a lot of weird shit that happens down there, and their videos have been sold to documentaries for National Geographic, I think Discovery, those type of channels, right? Science TV, whatever. Those type.
Right. But when shouldn't Glovers find it odd that we can, the northern sun, we can find that, very accessible. It's available, but we can't get nothing with the south. Nothing. It's all spliced, weird videos.
The stuff we do have has
Dude,
been shown. The stuff we do have has been shown to be fraudulent. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, okay, so again,
I would say at best inconclusive.
Hold on.
That's great.
Go ahead, Kosho.
You go to this guy's site. He doesn't only have one video. He's at the South Pole, showing he's at the South Pole and showing the sun going around his head in a circle. But he's got at least 3 or 4 videos of that, plus, like I said, 80 more videos of different other phenomena at the South Pole.
Yeah, we heard you the
Bro,
first
we've
time. you
debunked that
said
guy.
Yep. Okay, so let me.
Then why do you guys keep saying that? Why do you guys keep
I
saying it
keep
doesn't
saying
happen?
2 guys. Do you hear that? 2 guys. 2 guys. 2 guys. One of them is Robert Schwartz. I said that 3 times already. All right, do final thoughts.
In other words, Kosho, there's just not a lot of evidence, and it's very highly unusual that earlier literature doesn't really show any stuff, and then you only have these 3 videos going around. Come on, bro.
And we have evidence that those videos were tampered with and faked, and it's fraudulent.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, they shouldn't
actually.
be
That's
at
not
all.
even in contention anymore. So percentage.
When you
final
have
thoughts.
a first frame and sorry, go.
Well, if you want to say the last word on that data, go ahead. It'll just be your final thoughts, and that's fine.
When you have a video that has the first frame and last frame match, and they're passing it off as an authentic video, you have to go, what is going on? Why are you going through the effort, bro?
Yeah.
Yep, well said. Percentages on mute. Ed.
Yes.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. Dumbass.
Fuck out of here.
That was pointless, man.
LEB.
Do you think Bob every time you go to bed too, bro?
Data, we're in final thoughts.
LEB. Ellie's probably sleeping. Brian.
Yeah, I just want to say good show, man, and I like just throwing everything out there. Go out. We got to throw out every idea there is, and we'll get it. But also, man, I want to say, Arwen, man, don't come on here with that bullshit. All right, love all y'all though. Take it easy.
Thanks, Brian. Karin Kentucky. Chrissy. Oh, there he is. What up, man?
Not a whole.
Hey, thanks for boosting the server.
Hey, yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Chrissy.
Yeah, good show. Enjoyed it. I thought it was Friday for a moment.
It was very Friday-ish, and maybe that'll take place of our Friday show when we have George coming in to give us a presentation on the ionosphere and radio waves and some other stuff. So,
looking forward to it.
Thanks, Chrissy. Crit.
Yeah, so the first thing is like with that 15 degrees per hour, if you multiply that by 24 hours, that gets a full 360. If the globals accept that, they can't explain why day turns to night 6 months from now. And if they thank Bob, then they're saying that only a flat earther can prove rotation when they can't. And the last thing is all these videos from National Geographic. National Geographic is owned by Disney Plus.
It's Rockefeller, yeah.
So you have to look at that too. It all connects. It's a web of lies.
Thanks, Crit. Dicelo.
Yeah, good show, man. I like what you're doing with the ether. Don't let anybody sway you and tell you any different. Take the time to look into it. I feel ether just gets dismissed too easily, and there's a lot more that could be explained accounting for it. So good show.
Thanks, man. Don Gio.
Nice show, man. It would be nice if more flat earthers were opened up to a magnetic field. If you can show me that paramagnetism and diamagnetism isn't affecting anything in our Earth, then I will keep the argument going.
Thanks, Don. C4. No. Global virus foe. Jeremy.
Yeah, first off, I want to say sincerely thank you, Bob, for giving us the data that will so desperately help us. Like, that's no joke, bro. We're having Earth rotation debates every other day, at least. Second of all, any flat earther that looks at a 24-hour sun in Antarctica and now becomes a glober or think that's proof that we're on a globe, you'll get put on the list. That's all.
Thanks, Jeremy.
It's a
Illegal.
dumb shit list.
It's not. You're dumb, Jeremy. Think that.
Illegal. No. John.
It's me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. We have to know we are living in a 3D space, but the ground is horizontal and is absolutely a plane. And also, Bob, thank you, Bob. You understand me because I understand you. Because we have the vibration of understanding. We are not fast in focusing on a small point to win the argument. Bob is trying to understand the whole thing, and many of is not helping him. It's like working against him, but he just gets stronger, and I'm also getting stronger. It's just foolish shit. The truth is, yes, we are in a 3D space, but there's also other spaces, and there are other powers that is not in 3D spaces. Like an electronic is in 2 spaces. It's just 2 dimensions. Okay, if you don't understand that, if you're just laughing, then you are just like children. You have to take everything in. If you don't do it, you are not with us on the race. Bob understand me. I know Bob know a lot more than me, but we are in the same vibration. Everything is about vibration and understanding.
Thanks, John.
I'm just saying.
Ed, quiet.
Thanks, John.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
I just want to say a lot.
You're not.
I will also say I love you all. I love you all of you.
We love you too, John.
And I like discussing and be with you all. And I love if you say something to me, and I really listen. Yes, I do. And I hope you will sometimes listen to me also. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Kosho. Oh, your mic is fucked.
No.
I'll come back. Your mic's totally fucked. Left lane. Howard. Matrix.
Good show, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Paige.
Yeah, great show. I really like that explanation for the differences in the temperature and the climates in the north and the south. It makes so much more sense. So, so simple instead of this being on the ball where you're closer in winter, but because of a tilt, you're actually hotter on the earth. Sometimes I wonder if it's the fact that a flat earth is so simple that what gets these people upset. Their egos can't stand the fact that anyone could understand this. So, yeah. Thanks, Brandon. Great show.
Thanks, Paige. Lemon. Piotrowski.
Yeah. See, someone mentioned early on in the Midnight Sun discussion that someone was offering to pay to go down there. I'd totally take that up. But yeah. Good show though.
Yeah, that's Anthony Powell. He says he'll reimburse you. I think you can find it on the internet if you want.
Anthony Powell. All right.
Yep. Quad.
Thank you.
Yep. Rakia. Sirok. Essie.
Yes, Brandon, good show. Thank you very much. I'd like to say something to John Bernard's. John, I told you today on Emma's, I have to tell you again, bro. There's only 3D. We don't live. There's no other coordinates. There's no 4D. There's no time. There's no 5, 6, 7. There's no 11 dimensions like Michikaku says. We live in reality, bro. We love you too, but you have to understand we live in reality. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Silent Zero. Thanks, Essie. Silent Zero. Bob.
All right. There's several things that people have said today that I want to address. I got my notepad here. All right. So first of all, Bob's claim that we need to basically address them on the same level, that's incorrect. Okay. As an analogy, like I don't think that abortion is morally upright. I don't think it's right. I think it's murder. Okay. If somebody comes to me with basically the level of mind that it's not a baby in there, it's not a life, it's a zygote, and it doesn't matter, so they're allowed to do what they want with it, I am not required or obligated to engage with them on that level, period. Even if a lot of people believe it, and I'm sure a lot of people do believe that that's not a life, I am under no obligation, and neither is anyone else, to engage with them on that level. They're wrong. That's a life in there. And that's just an analogy. And it's the same way with this discussion that we're having. We have no obligation or requirement to engage with them on their level just because a lot of them believe it. That's absurd. Second, we have no obligation to explain why a man-made device does exactly what it's designed to do. It was literally designed to do that thing, so it's going to do that thing. Or it's going to look like it does that thing. We don't have to audit it and explain why it's not doing what they claim it's doing. We don't have to explain why it is doing what it is doing, beeping, showing numbers, any of those things. That is also an absurd claim. We have no requirement to explain that to them. If it's a man-made device, it literally cannot prove reality, period. Third, the correct move in those scenarios, he indicated that we need to allow certain starting points basically from where they're at, not throw it all out. The correct move is absolutely to refuse any starting points, standards, or baselines that are not immediately demonstratable. If they have a problem with that, they can leave and come back with a demonstration, and then we can start accepting it as the standard or the baseline or the starting point. Looking for the force that makes things go down sounds exactly like what they tried to do with gravity, and I think Bob is on the wrong track if that's what he's attempting to do. They already thought they knew what it was, and they crafted things that seemed like it would show that, and now here we are. If that's the level he's working on, I think he's working on the wrong level. And the final thing I want to address, data, it seems like you've been tricked. It seems like you've been tricked into putting the cart in front of the horse, okay? What it seems like they've done is they've gotten you to agree to a hypothetical observation in the future, and if they can show you that hypothetical observation in the future, then your current situation now is now automatically debunked. That's not how it works. If there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, it does not in any way show that the Earth is not flat. All it does is show us that there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. To get you to put that hypothetical observation out there in front and agree to what it would mean if it existed before it's ever been observed, that's putting the cart in front of the horse. That's them tricking you into agreeing to what the conclusion will be before they've ever even actually shown the real observation. That's a problem. And if you're going to go down that lane, that's a problem for you logically. That's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, Bob. Kosho, is your mic back? You want to say something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I think so. Say something else.
Yeah, say something regarding. Let me see. Oh yeah, right. I'll just keep it short. I'll respond to what Chris said. Chris said something about the 6 months later, it should be night. day. I want to know that every equinox solstice, which are 3 months apart, they also take place 6 hours. 6 hours from the time it was 3 months ago. So by the time it was 12 hours from the other. So the rotation is fully in there. I was going to say something about that Robert Schwartz guy, but there's really no point in doing that. I say check him out, but I just witnessed you guys parade Bob Nodell proving 15 degrees per hour of the spin of the Earth and act like there's in some way flat Earth evidence that globe Earth debunked. What that tells me is there's not anything at all. You guys can go to space, take pictures, and we'll use that as flat Earth proof. So there's I don't know if there's any hope for changing anybody's mind in this game, but I still have
All right.
Someone
thanks.
tune the radio, please.
Go show.
That was the worst.
I thought it was gonna be quick. He said, "Oh, can we keep it quick?"
Yeah.
It's still pretty bad, Kosho. Whatever it is, we could hear you like barely, but your mic sounds like you're screaming through like the Stargate from a different dimension or something. It's all fucked up.
John's final thoughts were more clear.
Anyway, my final thoughts. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys joining the panel. It was a pretty crazy night, but very good stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow night, Friday. One more reminder: Friday, George is going to be here. Not at the beginning of the show, but he is going to give a presentation. And
who Hannah took?
Yeah, on radio waves and some other stuff. He wants to directly address some of the things Bob said when he was on the show, so I'm giving him a chance to come and present, and we'll see how that goes. And then he will join the panel after he presents, and we'll have a chance to ask him some questions. Anyway, all right, thanks guys. I'll be back. Okay, thank you everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. There was some blood sports there, and hopefully we can avoid that kind of drama, talking shit about people in the future. But I understand some people had to get some stuff off their chest, so hopefully that doesn't happen again, but whatever. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Hope everybody has a good night. Thank you very much, and talk to you later. Bye.